Everybody, thank you for joining us. Hello, we're very pleased to see you. Welcome to the Stream of Chaos, Chaosium's home for some wonderful Call of Cthulhu playing online. We're here playing our regular Call of Cthulhu game of Berlin, the Wicked City, and I'm joined, as I always am, by these fine, wonderful people here. Over to my right.
Hey, I'm Jackson. I was playing Josef Fischer. But he got sucked into the Dreamlands by like a magic mirror.
Yes.
He's become a train conductor in the Dreamlands. So now I am playing Josef Fischer's mirror image. We don't know what that means yet.
Well,
but we're about to find out.
Below your body, there's a bunch of letters right there. Excellent. Yes, of course. Fantastic.
Digital age.
To my left.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I can't remember what I normally say about myself. I am having a good day. Anyway, I am playing a character named Percy Holmgren, who was a war photographer and then was a film director and then got lost. No, he didn't get lost in the Dreamlands. He just kind of got a bit obsessed with a theatre for 2 years, lost everything he has, and now wants to go home.
Yes.
But not yet.
Some
so we'll
things
see what
are
happens.
come up in your way.
Yes.
Right. And finally, over here to my right.
Hello, I'm David. I play Klaus Landsrider, and I am a course student. I am a fencer, and I train people to fence. I'm tight as hell.
Yeah, you're pretty tough.
Yeah.
Excellent. So for those of you who are just joining us or who aren't aware what we're doing, this is a Call of Cthulhu game. This is where we play lovely horror mythos role-playing, and we are currently working our way through Berlin, the Wicked City, a fantastic little campaign, or fantastic little source book rather, which contains within it some campaigns. We are midway through the second one, and is currently autumn, November 10, 1928. And we are about to jump back into everything. But first, let's talk through what happened last time. Of course, last time we were joined by the wonderful Jason Dural, who is now away,
Is he back home? Or
I think currently he's in Singapore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But he will
Not
be
quite.
landing in Berlin soon. And there you go. So he is making his way back to where the book is set. Last time, it was 1926. Your characters were working through and slowly investigating some of the mysterious circumstances that surrounded a performance by Anita Berber. You had spoken to her husband, a man named Ollie, an American dancer, and you had found some pamphlets in his room. You'd managed to sort of get access to Anita. A bunch of stuff had happened, and then all at once you went to see a performance done by Henri, and while you were there, you were sucked into a strange alternate dimension and kept there, trapped, terrified, alone for what to the collection of you seemed like only a couple of hours, but you have now awoken, some of you, outside in the real world, and you've found that 2 years have passed and many terrible, difficult things have happened. Now, of course, in the Dreamlands, or the strange dream version of Berlin, which we will refer to as the Dreamlands, although technically where Dream Berlin starts and the Dreamlands ends and all the rest of that is a little bit fluid. But you decided to stay behind.
Yes. Josef had another brush with insanity and decided that fate is cruel and he must find a way to escape it. And the best way to do that was to stay in not Berlin and become a train conductor.
Yes, a fantastic idea.
Because, railroads and timetables, the best way to escape fate.
Absolutely. So Joseph has stayed behind, but will still have some effect in the world because his mirror alternate version, well, we'll get to that later. You had a rather terrible time waking up.
Yes,
You have
yes.
emerged and you've basically lost everything.
Yeah, because I told my mirror self that I didn't really know what it was, to just stay put, thinking that I didn't want him to come out of the mirror, but I ended up telling myself basically to just never leave. So I became obsessed with obscure theatre. No, it was a
concert hall.
Concert hall. And I got removed by the police, and then I went back to jail, and it hasn't really been a good 2 years.
Back to Jail, the worst sequel of all time.
Yeah.
You've had a pretty good time, though.
Yeah.
Weird.
I was
Rich
alright.
get richer.
Rich get richer.
I was tight as hell in the Dreamlands. throwing javelins, swimming through lakes, running from stuff, and I came back, and you know what? Making money.
All right.
Yeah.
What did your mirror self get up to?
It made me money.
Right.
Yeah.
I came back and he'd invested it.
you know, you finally.
Stocks, bonds.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
finally cleaned out the attic.
Yeah.
You know, you came home.
Kept up my workout regime. Yeah, it was fantastic. I'm good to go, baby.
Finally fixed the leaky step.
Yeah.
You'd gone to visit your family, so now you're
Now
free of
I'm good.
visiting them for another 5 years.
Yeah.
That was tremendous. I'm going back to the dream house.
The best sequel ever. Now, continuing on. So we're actually going to sort of jump in. We were sort of a little vague with exactly how much time passed once you were back in the real world, and that's sort of a combination because your characters are sort of gradually coming back into things, and the fog takes a while to sort of drift away, but also because I wanted to get an idea of what your characters' intentions were. Although a lot of their intentions won't necessarily get the chance to manifest because a bunch of very bizarre things. So, first of all, you went back and basically tried to get in contact with everyone.
Yep.
You tried to get in contact with Irma Core as well, the Jason's character, who you managed to find, you looked up and you managed to find was committed to a hospital. You managed to track down Percy,
Yep.
and Percy, you haven't been doing particularly well. Percy, probably when you meet him, is in desperate need of like clothing and shelter and food. Would you have housed him temporarily or given him some money to get to a hotel or
Yeah,
clean
would
himself
you
up?
have? Would you have?
I would have. I just would have kept detailed notes on, debt incurred. I'm happy to help out. I'm here to give you a lift up, pick you up by your bootstraps, give you the best opportunities I can, but ultimately, you need to take the next step. You need to repay me and your debt to society. I won't
have
tell you
been-
that, just
okay.
but you do need to pay me back.
I've been living on the streets for 2 years.
I know, and that's horrible, terrible. We'll get you cleaned up, get you a newspaper route or something.
Oh, is my bike okay? What happened to my bike?
Oh, I mean,
Impounded.
your bike is almost certainly not okay, but let's roll a luck check to see what's happened to it.
I remember last time I burnt a whole bunch of luck.
The poor get poorer.
I was meant to do that on the specific dice scam that we have. I actually succeeded.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, you've managed to. You've got just a regular success.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So I'm going to say that you know where your bike is. You know, and I'm going to say you know who you sold it to. So you could potentially. I mean, you weren't around really mentally when you sold it. So frankly, taking it back would just be normal repossession, really. But you sold it to a family in a neighborhood near your home. When you needed
like
money to
some
be able
kids
to.
live.
To like some like
Right on it.
8-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me that.
8-year-olds. Oh,
Nah, still
Freakishly tall 8-year-old.
I could make genuinely be an eldritch terror or something.
2 8-year-olds in a trench coat.
Or alternatively, you
Unlike
just had a
Adelaide.
bicycle that was, because of course you're 90 size, you just had a bicycle that was very, very small, kind of clown bicycle style, and your knees coming up around your ears.
I think I'm not gonna go get it back because I'd feel too bad stealing back a bike. But if I see, because it's been 2 years. Percy's been in and out of jail. I'm gonna say that his bounds of morality have been extending. So if he sees an unlocked, unattended bike, it's not outside of reason for him that he needs it. Might just borrow
I
it.
wonder why you were in prison.
Well, listen, we're not going to. Call of Cthulhu is a game of horror, but we don't really need to dwell on the truly horrible parts. So let's just say that as you get to, you join Klaus at his home, you leave parked outside a brand new bike, and we will leave it at that, and we'll never address how exactly you got a hold of it.
Of course, if you're going to be buying new bikes, then you can surely afford to repay me soon.
I spent all my money on the bike. But now I don't have any.
We invented interest.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Now, you did try to get a hold of Joseph.
Yeah.
And try to track him down as best you could. You would have had probably not a ton of ways to get in contact with Joseph. He's already pretty difficult to get in contact with, just at a basic level. But also, you find pretty quickly that you've been looking in the wrong places. And this is because Joseph has been through a fairly significant personality shift and change since his return, and his time living in this sort of dream state hasn't been completely normal. You've been sort of a bit thrown. Your mind is halfway torn between the dreamlands and halfway torn between reality. You have vague memories, and you probably remember waking up a few times at different points. You remember at some point you managed to. The core of this is that the elements, the reflection that you saw of yourself, the sort of darting, quick, alert, and although somewhat twitchy, more stable person that you saw in the mirror when you were first inside the concert hall is essentially the man who had control of your life for quite a long time. What do you think that this man would have done with your life?
I guess thrown himself with abandon into what he was doing previously, more decisiveness, which is becoming like a nightly kind of crusader of
Absolutely,
Berlin. Yeah, prowling the streets. Yeah, but perhaps with like less concern for his wooden leg, his aged body.
Okay.
I suspect. I could be wrong.
All right. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let me ask you to make a luck check as well.
Very good. Here it comes.
Get these out of here.
Get
out. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's
Success
exact-
1. Is that the same roll? Is that the
No,
same
not
roll?
quite. I rolled
36?
36. Yeah.
36, okay. But pretty much. So you've been relatively successful. So Klaus is not able to find you right away. But you wake up on the 10th of November. Restored. Yes, please.
I had a court date.
You did have a
Did
court
I
date.
go to that?
Well, you wake up on the 10th of November and you figure out exactly what happened. You can
Okay.
go back and you can reconstruct your life. But basically, you wake up and you kind of shift and you feel a blanket next to you and you pull it around and you get ready to sort of tuck it around yourself. And then you realize you're lying in a bed, a reasonably comfortable bed at that. And that kind of throws you for a second, just so used to sleeping under bridges and in terrible. And then your memory begins to sort of cloud, and you remember, no, you stayed in the dreamlands, and or did you? Are you half here? And your mind begins to sort of tear between sort of multiple places. You have has Klaus ever been afflicted with amnesia as a result of insanity?
No.
Joseph, sorry. Klaus has.
No. He had ablemania for a while, which is clinically
He
indecisive.
didn't like
Yes.
it.
He got better. He still has a touch of egomania.
Right. Okay. So, basically, you begin to you amnesia would be a good analog, but you have never seen it from amnesia. So Klaus is rather Joseph. I apologize, Klaus. Joseph is rather confused at this stage. He begins to get up and sort of look around. You realize that you're inside quite a small room, an apartment on a high-rise building that overlooks quite a large section of Berlin. You can see through the windows. There's sort of like a really good angle on the streets, and you can actually see that there is a small brass telescope that has been set up there. Except instead of looking up to the sky, it is pointed straight down, and there are like notes all over the walls. You've clearly been keeping tabs on everything. Your vigilante work has been in full swing. You kind of stagger around and begin to get your bearings. You can see it's a very modest apartment. You're quite sure where you got the money for this entirely at this stage. But as you begin to move from room to room, you can find in one area you've got a small washroom mirror, and you can look at yourself. You've aged a bit, and you've got some new scars to boot to mix with your old ones, sort of signs of old kind of violence or some kind of stuff. But essentially what has happened is you're exactly what you said. Joseph has been acting as a vigilante for the last number of years, and apparently has been doing so rather successfully.
And at some point, do I look down at my leg?
Yes, you do look down at your leg. And you go to reach down sort of automatically, and you realize that your leg has actually swapped sides. Because, of course, you are a mirrored version of yourself.
Oh my gosh.
And you sort of gaze into a mirror for a second and spot that all of your features have completely morphed and are now reflected. Were you left-handed or right-handed originally?
I guess I would have been right-handed originally. Now I'm left-handed.
Okay, you are now left-handed.
And now my left leg is missing, and I have my right leg.
Yes.
Yes.
You also do you have any moles or features or scars on swap sides?
Oh yeah, like all the scars,
Yeah.
right? And there was like one patch of the beard that never quite came in. That's now swapped.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Something like that.
You're the ugliest appearance 60 person I've ever met.
Well, behind underneath like grime, there's a rakish charm. Yeah.
Okay. What would be your first instinct, Joe?
See if I was keeping notes. Find the notes that I was keeping.
Okay, so I want you to make a library use check to begin to go. You kept notes everywhere.
Yeah.
This is like the serial killer's apartment in a horror movie. There's stuff all over the walls.
Do I feel like it's mine?
Yes, and you can have advantage because of that.
Very
basically,
good.
Because you're pretty used to this.
My library use is 20, so not going to cut it,
no.
unfortunately.
Okay. So you begin to look through all of these, and they are completely obscure. They are an absolute mess. You're looking through these papers, sort of flicking through them bit by bit by bit, and dawning horror begins to come over you as basically what you're seeing is a lot of plans for bridges, maps, circled areas, lists of munitions and equipment, plans, and there is a bunch of sort of
Designs for new and exciting cannons?
not quite. Designs for new and exciting destruction, I think, would be. You begin to be pretty sure that you've been planning something. You're not sure how much of this has been put in place yet. As you begin to flick through that, more and more and more and more, you begin to hear a ringing noise. A phone ringing.
I have a phone?
Yeah, it shocks you as well, and you
Incredible.
turn, and you spin around. You can see in the corner there is a small phone, and next to it is piles and piles of books, all completely chock full with notes. The phone sits there, and there's a chair next to it. Your character smoked.
Sure, yeah,
so there's an
sure.
ashtray overflowing with cigarette butts. You clearly spent a lot of time there. The phone sits there quietly, this squat little black thing just ringing quietly.
I sit down next to it, and next to it I see the phone and the address book, the phone book that I've been compiling with just one number on it, which is the number of Mr. Luke Mammoth, who is our most recent subscriber.
Amazing.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Luke. That is absolutely wonderful.
Going with this?
I always try to wedge him in.
Thank you so much, Luke.
Thank you, Luke. We really appreciate it. That's absolutely wonderful. I believe that might bring us up to a number which unlocks us some.
It needs to be new subscribers.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, thank you all
But
the
thank
same.
you anyway,
You're wonderful.
Luke.
You are the
Thank
best.
you so much.
And I answer the phone.
Okay.
Do I know how to answer a phone?
You've seen someone do it before. You
That's
probably
right,
did it in the army as well. So
okay. Very good.
You pick up the phone, you bring it to your
phones.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
No, I mean, they had the soldiers with telephones.
Oh
on their
yeah,
back
the
and
massive
stuff like
radio
that.
packs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you would have become used to it. Yeah, you pick up the phone and you sort of listen into it, and there is kind of a soft silence. All silence is soft, but this is a particularly soft silence, except for the faint little jingling of what maybe sounds like music in the background.
The song from.
It is not the song from a concert hall. It's quite a trashy modern pop song. But 1920. So it's like an old jazz
Smooth.
song. It's not
Yeah.
exactly but in kind of that, and you can't really hear anything else. You make a listen check if you'd like to try and determine what else is going on.
Listen is not great. No, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
I will just
no,
bark.
Just silence.
Oh!
No. Oh, there's a couple of seconds of silence, and then you hear a soft voice, a woman's voice, say, quite deep voice, the memory of Berber lives on.
Recognize the voice.
You failed your listen check, so.
Fair.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay. Very quickly, You're going to stay and essentially try and piece your life together.
Yeah.
You're all right. So you're kind of siloed at this stage. You're attempting to build through everything.
Yes, I need to know as much as I can about
the situation
what I
at
was
large.
trying to do.
Okay, fantastic. Now the two of you basically managed to, you've got together. You're probably back at Klaus's home out in the countryside, which is
I have one. So
yes. You're not too far out of Berlin. You would have called up the facilities that you know that Irma is in, and you know that she is under care there, but is very weak. So you could potentially visit her, but she's not in a position to leave the hospital or to be remanded into anyone's care.
I'd visit at least and just confirm that it is her and that she got out.
Is this something that you would want to go to as well, Percy?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
I want to chase down the bloke that we let out. The other one, Lucas Kilmer.
Yes.
Who was the soldier that we saved.
Absolutely.
Possibly saved. Possibly doomed.
Okay. So, first of all, did the two of you have any conversations once you sort of arrived together in the house and you managed to sort of get your bearings or is it sort of very matter of fact you're refusing to acknowledge that all this time has passed and trying to focus very strongly on the objective?
No, I think we spoke about it, confirmed, like shared notes and made sure that
I definitely think
it all happened and you know stepped through the process of actually confirming it.
I definitely think. I think Percy would be disappointed to hear what has happened, but I don't think he'd be the type to try and deny it outright.
What your
that anything happened, and
oh yeah.
I think by this point it's fair and like it sucks.
I think speaking to Irma and chasing down Kilmer is a part of us understanding what happened and confirming our impact.
And also trying to figure out what that place was, because I think now I would like to try and figure out how to prevent it from kind of happening to us again.
Yep.
Also, part where we're like, do we call the police on the man who had the piano, or
Oh yeah, did
that guy should
look into that guy, Henri?
I guess we do that next.
Henri
We probably
Chapman,
will need to.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely can. Yeah, you can look into him very easily. You would also be aware in the papers that the top of the morning news.
The vigilante.
Yeah, the vigilante
Red
strikes
Mortar.
again. Old Pegleg the Proud has been strikes again. No,
I need a superhero name.
You do need a
And an
superhero.
outfit.
Let me get back to you on
And a
that.
symbol and a
Okay,
sidekick.
have a think about it.
What was my phone call again? So I've already forgotten what it said.
Your phone call said the memory of Berber lives on. The woman's voice. Or the deep woman's voice. Now, the two of you decide to basically look up these two people and make these visits. Okay, so first of all, when you were in the Dreamlands, you basically came across these mass of soldiers' souls that were lost and completely sort of scattered throughout the mists of not Berlin. Now, some of these soldiers will have passed on, and some of them will have not. If you've let a soul...
I'm not aware that more of these got out. We don't know what he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the one that we chose was specifically one that we thought was recent or something.
Oh, absolutely.
We thought it fit criteria.
So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to make a luck test with advantage because you specifically chose an effective quarry, and you have let someone out. We'll see if their body is still around.
Expertly ruled, James.
Did you pass?
Exactly 41. That is a success.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Okay, so you probably have access. You know, you're a former soldier yourself, and you probably have access to some military files, and you do manage to find Lucas Kilmer in a sort of collection of military records, and you find that he was reprimanded to a hospital, and I did say last session that Irma was being kept in a hospital for the shell-shocked.
Yep.
So it is entirely reasonable that Lucas would be in the same hospital.
2 for 1.
Yeah, so you both managed to make the trip. These facilities are rather new. They're sort of a modern style of architecture, and they tend to be rather understated because they do not have particularly happy connotation surrounding them.
Yep.
The two of you take a trip through Berlin and you begin to head towards it. And you're both rather amazed at the changes that you see. The city really is swelling. It is growing. There are far more people on the streets. There are far more foreigners in particular, both from the rest of Europe and from abroad. You spot people who you know hear smatterings of various languages, as well as German, English, Yiddish, all kinds of different languages. And as you begin to move through, you can see that, that you were already at the beginning of the upswing in terms of German prosperity in 1926, but now things are starting to get even better. The signs of the Depression appear to be, basically, the recession rather, completely moving away. You can see the shop fronts appear to be open. More people are moving around. There is, with that, definitely comes a kind of carefree abandon. The industries that really propped up this new boom were the entertainment industries and the bars and restaurants and cinemas and casinos and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's definitely a larger sense of debauchery, a sense of wickedness kind of lingering around the town. But it's bustling. It's really good.
I am going to make a killing.
You very well. Well, I mean, your credit rating increased by I think 9 points. So that would be the reflect. You're probably like
I was invested when it was low, baby. I'm riding this out.
Now you would also, as a dedicated revolutionary, you would also be seeing the beginnings of your political ideology starting to become the less dominant one. So you would be, keeping your eye out for bookshelves, bookshops and other industries that you know are sympathetic, and you're a little concerned to see many of them shut down. And also, you don't just see the same faces around. So you're kind of starting to feel a little bit tense.
Right.
The two of you arrive at one of these buildings after you get driven there because your driver is there, and apart from to his perspective, you've been completely normal, so he's perfectly happy to take you. You arrive, shut the door, and head up a sort of well manicured, well taken care of pathway up into this squat little building where you were admitted. These places are either chronically understaffed, or they just kind of stop caring about their patients, tragically. This place is leading towards the chronically understaffed.
Okay.
So you have to wait for about 15 minutes before finally someone, a nurse bustles out to see you and looks like quite frazzled. You can see their sort of uniform is on like a little bit messily, and they say, I'm so sorry for the delay. How can we assist the two?
I'll give you a moment to straighten yourself up.
Oh, yes, thank you. Sorry, and they do their best to...
Not to worry. We're here to see with a Mr. Kilmer and a Mr. Core.
Mr. Core and Mr. Kilmer.
The other way around. Mr.
Right.
Kilmer, Mrs. Core.
Mrs. Core.
My
Excellent. Yes, well, I think, and she sort of starts like sort of going through books here. We can take visitors. And she kind of looks at you a little weirdly all of a sudden. She looks up. Are you family members or
Close friends.
of both?
Yes.
Well,
It has been some time.
I see. You must both be aware that both Kilmer and Core, they, people don't tend to have recoveries in these places, and both have exhibited a rather sudden and effective recovery.
We have timed this very well then. Are they still here?
She is going to kind of look at you, but she doesn't see any way that this would make any sense, so she guesses it. It just must be a crazy coincidence, and starts to get kind of like giggly about it. Just yes, they're still here. Yes, you can make visits. Who would you like to see first?
Ms. Core.
Ms. Core, absolutely, of course. And you'll be led down a set of halls, and you can see there is a smaller wing to one side which contains all of the
Non-military.
For this hospital is actually all of the female patients, because these hospitals were basically purpose designed to take people who were never going to recover. So generally that tended to be shell shock victims at this point, which meant that the vast majority of them were military men from the war.
Yep.
So you come into this wing and you're escorted to like a sort of room that's with dividers of curtains all the way along. And you walk through, and Miss Core is just like, she may be sleeping. She's very weak at this time, coming out of recovery. You walk forward and you turn around, see, and there is a small bed laid out in front of you, and lying on it is this absolutely stick-thin woman. She has no muscle, no fat on her entire body. She looks quite different to the Irma you knew, but she's still recognizable. You can kind of see that she's grown in a different way, perhaps than the Irma in the dream world was able to guess that she might have grown. But she seems to be alive and she seems to be relatively well. She's breathing very shallowly and she does appear to be asleep.
I don't know. What do you want to do? Should we
came all this way.
Should we try and wake her? I don't.
We should confirm at least that she is waking.
Does she have is there some kind of medical chart of some kind?
A medical, there would be medical charts around. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there something with details about her? Or...
Yeah, you can pick up something. Do you have any medical skill?
Yeah, I actually have 15.
Excellent. Do you want to roll a medicine check for me?
No. Sorry.
Okay. It's basically all gibberish to you. You get the vague sense, the obvious is there, suddenly woken up, very thin, very weak, awoken from a coma. But beyond that, there's very little information. You lean forward and you're going to shake her? Or are you going to poke her in the eye? What's the plan?
We'll shake.
Okay.
For the beginning.
And then if things need to be escalated, all right.
Then we will do so.
Reach forward and you begin to sort of...
Also, don't mention the war still. You might not have been told.
Yes, that's fine.
She blinks a few times and up her eyes and kind of... and she tries to speak, she tries to say hello, but I won't imitate it because I don't think I could do it justice, but it's as if she's foreign within her own body. She doesn't quite know how to move it or do anything, and she sort of slurs her words quite aggressively. You see her eyes dart around. She looks exhausted and tired, but you can see brightness there. And, her eyes start fixing around, just reveling at the fact of being awake. And, they're flicking towards, between your faces, but then also thinking things like your jackets, your clothes, a table. She's just looking at everything and just seeing it and, a window, everything. It's just, there's still a kind of childlike delight in her eyes.
You do not need to talk. I only wanted to see that you were well or getting better, and to confirm that you were here with us.
She kind of smiles and kind of sits back. She doesn't feel the need to talk anymore, so she just kind of looks happy and she's vaguely nodding. She's looking over the two of you. She kind of hesitates a bit looking at you. You look a little rougher than perhaps you did in the dream world, so she has a little bit of concern in her eye, but she also is probably pretty used to things being different, so she just relaxes after.
Well, have you heard from your father yet?
Her face falls slightly. She shakes her head and tries to kind of... Have you kind of... She's sort of gesturing, yeah.
No.
I thought we learned that he...
I think that was player knowledge. I don't think we don't...
Yeah, so you...
that was,
yes,
okay.
that was player
I don't think we...
That's fine, that's fine.
No, we haven't had a chance to look into it yet. I was coming to check on yourself. And you haven't had a visit from Joseph, have you? Joseph.
Joseph, would you have visited?
Not immediately, not after regaining consciousness.
Let me throw something at you. I did mention earlier that you have sort of drifted in and out of consciousness several times. Mm-hmm. At one of those other points of lucidity, do you think you would have visited?
Yes, I would think so.
Okay.
I don't know how successful.
Yeah, yeah, you probably would have been a bit tough. You may have visited, but I was going to say perhaps you'd left a gift. But I'll say at this stage she wouldn't have been aware of that either.
I think
so. She will shake her head.
Grappling hook and a domino mask. Is this spandex?
Have you come up with a superhero name yet?
I have, but
please,
I briefly need to turn on the audio on my laptop so I can hear Google Translate pronounce it for me.
Go ahead.
Der Holzbeinheld.
Der Holzbeinheld.
Which means...
The wooden leg hero.
The wooden leg hero. I love it.
I went for the alliteration. Holzbein is wooden leg and held is hero.
That's good.
The Holzbeinheld.
The Holzbeinheld. That's very, very cool.
Thank you.
Wooden-legged hero. Wonderful. That's wooden-legged hero who stalks the streets by night with a telescope and plans massive... incidences of violence.
You can hear him coming a mile away.
Yes.
And you can watch him coming a mile away because he's not very quick.
I got you!
But he gets the job done eventually.
Because by then they've wrapped up their business and they go, we'll just do it elsewhere. Same time next week. Same time next week.
So the two of you probably exchange a couple of pleasantries with Irma.
So does she say that yes, Joseph
no, she
is
does not.
busy?
So she has no.
Joseph. All right, well, I hope you are feeling better soon. If there's any way that I can help or any information you need, feel free to contact me. We have a business card, and if you need a film made or something, we are in the business of making documentaries.
You put the card next to her and she kind of looks towards it.
She don't know what to...
Yeah,
You've got a lot to catch up on. I'm not going to explain it all now. Feel better. Hope we speak with you soon.
And you're not going to mention the wall.
Fuck no. That sounds like not my job. Also, look at this place. You'll figure it out real soon.
She was ever so slightly scared of you because you were quite loud and brash inside the dream world. So as Percy goes to leave, you sort of turn and begin to walk out. But Percy, as you turn to leave, she kind of reaches out and grabs you slightly and manages to point towards the next... it's not a stall, but the next section over, where you can see another man asleep in a bed in a similar condition. And there are various gifts surrounding him, but one of them, visible from where she is lying, is a small teddy bear. She's pointing at the teddy bear. Here's to one.
Is it someone else's teddy bear?
It's someone else's teddy bear.
Is that person there?
They are lying on the bed. You look at them, their eyes are open, and they are unresponsive.
I'll go over and I'll have a look. And
Yep. He makes no move.
I mean, she's
reaction.
awake.
Shit.
How would she put you in such
What
an
a
awkward
quandary.
position? This is the toughest moral choice you've encountered in
The
our
bike
entire
theft
call.
was easy. This is vicious.
I feel bad that, I mean, she's been asleep for like 20 years. I'll just go over and just grab it.
Take
It's
up
okay.
the teddy bear.
That was wrong. Lose a D10 sanity.
There's no reaction from the man lying there, and you walk over and you hand her the teddy bear. She kind of pulls it against herself and closes her eyes again and appears to go back to sleep.
Oh, wait until the guy's friends or family comes back and sees it. Like she woke up just to take it.
The girl's been asleep for 20 years. I don't think she does.
And then they're like, well, maybe our son can wake up if we give him the bear back. So they're going to wrestle it off her.
Or worse, she gets sent straight to prison, and then Percy gets there. Yeah, she appears to be very happy, and you sort of look at her. She appears to be asleep and doing a lot better. You turn and you walk away. You still have another visitor to get to.
At least
yes.
just to confirm that he is awoken, even if he's not. Yeah, yes, sorry.
So you were taken through the wards. You were taken towards the very back of the hospital, near where the doctors are, where the sort of patients that need immediate medical attention are kept.
Okay.
And you're taken through, you're led into the ward. You can see a lot of people. This is for more aggravated cases. You can see the people here aren't shell-shocked and just still. Some of them are panicking, some of them are yelling, some of them are... this is a little uncomfortable. As you both have been on the front, I will ask you both to make sanity checks as you walk through here. This is a rather uncomfortable thing.
How's mine
Actually been
doing?
on the front.
Oh yeah,
I was an officer.
Yeah, you can skip
I
this.
passed.
Well, no, it might be even more. Like I was the one that sent these people through. I think still same check, just different reason. Sandy round.
I passed. I actually got a success too. Just.
Okay.
Is that
If that
anything
matters.
for a sanity?
For success 2, no, that's gonna be fine for both of you. You're both just perfectly able to deal with the situation. So you begin to walk through, and you're being led by the same nurse who took you in, and she walks and says, Lucas has made a recovery. He has woken up, and his family will be very happy. And you come round.
Before she said, he has family still.
Yes, we've tried to get in contact with them, but some of them are refusing to come. They seem rather upset given the nature of his condition. He may be a...
Yes. Well, very good. Thank you.
Yes. So you're now standing at the other side of the curtain. Would you like to step inside?
Yes.
All right. You sort of reach forward and you pull back the curtain, and you can see lying on the bed. His head turns to face you. There is a man. He has quite horrific scarring down one side of his body, and he's missing both legs and one arm. And he sort of manages to shift himself up somewhat into a seating position as you come in. And he says, "Hello, yeah, have you heard from my family? Are my family coming? Did you manage to get in contact with them?"
No, sorry, it's just us.
Well, who are you then? Why are you here?
You're not familiar at all?
Kind of looks between the two of you. Sorry, have we met? Did we serve together?
Yes, we've met before, but it was brief. Does he look visibly like the person that I think I?
Yes, this is clearly the person that you spirit of.
Go on, give him a power roll or something. Give him a chance.
We'll see coming out the other side.
I just turn away. He seems to be here, although I'm not sure that he remembers what we went through, which is strange that we do and that Irma may.
Do we need to do anything else for this man? He's beyond our power to help him.
I agree. There's nothing that him remembering would benefit us. I think he needs rest, and I think we've done something for him. I think our ties here are severed.
You turn and you begin to sort of stroll back and walk off, and before you can get out the door, he begins to yell, wait, don't leave, please. Wait, just a minute. I need... I'm going crazy here alone. I need, please, if we serve together, please, you owe it to me. Please help me find my family. I need to get in contact with them. I can't myself. And he gestures at his body.
I can make a phone call for you. Or I can write a letter. Are your family in Berlin?
They are. I gave the address to the nurses, but they said they're not answering or they won't come. I don't understand. I don't know what's happened.
But we could go to the address and speak to them.
Would you do that?
If we could, even just to pass on a message, we could do that.
Thank you so much. And he kind of reaches out to clasp you by the hand, grabs your hand. Thank you, and pulls you close.
Write a note, something that we can prove is yours, and be clear what you want. If you need money for this, something else before you can be released, make it specific. Give them the amounts.
I can't write. I was left-handed.
Tell me what it needs to say then.
He dictates to you a letter that is basically like, please come and visit me, I need help, essentially, something along those lines.
Does he need specifics? Does he need money to be released for prosthetics, for etc.?
Well, yes, he will need money for prosthetics.
I get him to give them those numbers.
Okay. He doesn't really know them. He guesses that he ballparks some stuff for you.
I remember about the notes as well.
Yeah. All right. So the two of you turn, you leave after that, leaving this man much sort of happier, having spoken to someone. How do you both feel about this, having let this man out into a ruined body?
I mean, I didn't really want to let anyone out, so I'm not going to say I'm going to feel vindicated. Just that I'm glad that we only really saw one person.
What it is, I think that, I mean, this man is only one of so many. Only shows that there is a chance, and also now he can live. That this was the right thing to do.
I just think he's alone and he's stuck in this place, and is that really that much better than where he was before?
Yes, wandering in a large dome. No, we can get his family to contact him, and if not, there is a whole city can help him. No, he will be all right, and he comes from family. There will be money that can be spent to make sure that he lives his life in comfort.
All right. So the two of you turn back and begin to leave the hospital. Let's jump back to Joseph for a minute. Joseph, you have been in your room. You've been frantically tearing everything down. You've been going through everything. You know there is some kind of plan you set in motion, but you have no idea what that plan was at this stage. It seems to involve the mortar launcher that you had squirreled away. It seems to involve some like bridges and things towards the center of Berlin. You are just not sure.
Can I get an education or an engineering check to have a go at it?
I will let you push the library use roll using your engineering here, not your education, but your engineering. And what I'll ask you to do is the consequences will be you're bringing all this stuff down, and you are you can't work through it all, so you're like tearing up large sections of it. You're disturbing the order that had been set in. Exactly. So this will now no longer be decipherable by someone else from the outside, or if it is at all, it will be a much more difficult check to make.
Considering it could be incriminating,
Yeah,
I don't think that's such a bad thing.
yeah. So you are quite happy to
Yes.
make this completely
Very
unbelievable.
good. I don't remember what my ones was. Can I just do a
Absolutely.
straight up reroll?
Yeah.
Looking for a 60.
How'd you go?
Not great.
Not
I'm going
great.
27 points of luck to bring
Ooh.
it down, but I think I will not.
Okay, so you begin to read through this stuff, and by after sort of spending 2 or 3 hours just going through this in exhaustive detail, you just have no idea what's going through. You know it's going to be explosive, but that's about it. And you cast these papers to the side, and you kind of sit down.
That seems really important, but
Yes.
carry on.
I
Yes.
mean, you just put them down.
Okay. But if I have made plans, I have a
You've made
chance to
some-
uncover plans.
what these plans were exactly.
Yes.
Your phone rings again.
Before we pick that up, can we just go to a quick break and resolve something? So I'll
Absolutely. We will be right back. We will join you again shortly. Hello, we'll be jumping directly back into things, and we will be restoring to our normal story in just a moment, but for now we will continue with just these two characters at the time being. We'll be right back, never fear. Now, continuing on. So, your phone rings.
Oh, not again.
Yes. Once again, you're sitting there, the same black phone sitting there ominously ringing away, some leaden sound.
I don't know how to, record anything, do I?
You would not have, unfortunately,
No.
that's just not something. You could, it's literally get a notepad.
Alright.
I mean, you could make enough, this will give you a chance to make another listen check.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take it.
Do you remember doing a recording thing in the last
did, yeah,
series? We
yeah.
had
We
like
got-
a stenograph
we got a gramophone we
As a
stole,
whole thing.
borrowed from the university.
I like that you defaulted to us stealing it.
No, we actually got permission because it was an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah,
luck roll. I'm going to answer the phone.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt a listen roll.
You pick up the phone, make a listen roll.
I listen of 30. Oh, 28!
Okay, once again, a voice comes through, talking to you. You can hear in the background a couple of things. First of all, I would like to ask: are you listening to the background or are you listening to the voice? You got a success 2, right?
No, 28, success 1, just
Okay,
barely.
I'm only going to give you 1 then. So you can learn something about the background, or you can learn something about the voice.
I didn't recognize the voice. I'll listen to the background.
Okay. The background, as you kind of carefully listen, okay, you can hear soft jazz playing. You can also hear other phones. You can also hear very distantly the sound of other women talking. And they appear to be talking in sort of like, you can hear kind of a breathiness to the voice. This appears to be, you are you lived on the street for quite a while, so you would know of the German tradition of telephone girls, or basically this would essentially be a brothel sort of situation. It's the equivalent of like a it's not really phone sex, but you would call up people and you would organize liaisons and have extended conversation with people.
Really?
So this, you immediately start to listen to that and go, okay, this person is calling from like a telephone girl location.
Fascinating.
The voice says, "Remember your old friend Drow? I wonder what he's up to."
Now, Grau was the police inspector?
Grau was Alban Grau. This was
the director.
The director
The
of
first one.
Nosferatu, who you met at the dinner when you witnessed the first dance, and who originally set you on the trail of Anita Berber and all this kind of stuff.
I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you know about me, but I would demand to know immediately what you're on about.
You make me a. This is intimidate. You demand it. So make me an
I will
intimidate
demand.
test.
I will fail to demand.
Right. The phone hangs up.
Rude.
Rude.
I know, just terrible
Phone
service these
etiquette.
days. Yeah.
I don't like this at all.
No.
But I
Not
will
a good
proceed
sign.
with looking up Alban Grau.
Okay. All right. So you. How are you going to go about doing that?
I'm sure I have his card.
Yeah,
Like a big shot director.
Yeah, and you were loosely affiliated with the film industry, although you have been focusing most of your time on vigilante
Yes.
justice rather than working on films, so tragically, unfortunately. You have old cards, you can kind of get basic information. I would like you to hear, look, I think this would be this would really be a library use check, I think. This is
Credit
really,
rating to get in contact with someone of
Yes, allow you to have either of
Has
those.
my credit rating gone up since I have a place to live now?
Yeah, you make a credit rating advancement check. That makes sense, actually.
I will do that.
Or
I will,
get richer.
I will roll over a 5. Thank you.
So then roll a d10.
And I will gain 10.
Oh, well done. Okay, that's pretty good. So you've actually gotten significantly wealthier, i.e. you're now poor, not penniless. And I say that I'm not being facetious. Those are literal
Those are
manathematical
numbers. Those are
definitions.
numbers.
But I wouldn't
Yeah.
own the apartment, would I?
No, you'd be renting it.
Okay. Yes, so now I'm looking him up and I've any other skills that will help me here.
I really think it's going to be a credit rating or a library use.
Very good. We'll go library use because that's 5 points better.
Ooh, well done.
Oh!
Credit rating as well.
Wow.
Could you convince me to burn 2 points of luck to make that a success 3?
Oh, I think I could very easily convince you to do
Yeah.
that.
What do you got for me?
Okay, you're going to burn the. First of all, you're going to find reference to Alban Grau.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what. If you
General do is
burn a
telephone
success
sex
3,
worker.
you are going to find out a great deal.
I will find out a great deal more if you please.
So, first of all, you kind of like begin to dive into things in detail. You're looking through all of this information, and you basically find that Alban Grau has been living under the radar somewhat. He has not been directing films. You know that his film studio went bust and things were not going particularly well for him. Instead, he has been diving wholeheartedly into the occult scene in Berlin.
Yeah.
He has been a massive occultist, and you knew that he was an occultist. He mentioned pretty openly that he was interested in the occult. But now you realize that he's actually lecturing in the occult, and he's going around and he's making all these grand statements, and he's talking to people and he's teaching people about it. Specifically, you find out that he's going to be making a lecture in the back room of a small private bar that all occultists in Berlin of true substance will be attending. In fact, the bar's name, purely by chance, which I will have to get, apologies for the delay, but it is the bar that you first went to in campaign number 1. Where you first
saw Anita Barber.
Where you first saw Anita Berber. Now, this is, and I'll give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, coincidence. This is a very popular bar, and this just does happen to be somewhere that people would go to relatively frequently.
It was near the Andreaplatz.
Yeah, just near Andreaplatz, that is correct. And its name is, let me get it for you. Please hold while we... I'll tell you what, let's get that later. While I look for it, you've looked into that. Now,
how have I found this out of curiosity?
You would have been, so what you would have done is you would have gone out and you would have tried to get in contact with the people that you knew. So you would have probably paid a visit to the film studio and had a look around, and basically everything's changing. The film industry is in this complete state of flux. And people would have said, oh, look, we can't, we don't know where he is now, but we know that he's been lecturing in the occult. So that would have been a fairly obvious piece of knowledge. Then you would have probably just had to look at sort of occult lectures and occult venues. You probably would have visited a bookshop or two and asked around. They probably would have pointed you to some of the larger occult bookshops. And eventually, fairly quickly, you would have been pointed in the direction of this particular event, because it is a rather famous event. It's not like super scary occult, it just happens to be
It's like book club occult.
it's like book,
fashionable
occult,
yeah,
exactly.
Poses.
yeah, none of it's real. Who
What are
needs
mythos points?
Exactly.
Yeah, what about they don't have 14 mythos? Sure. 14.
4. I'll kill you and take them. Sorry, kill you, raise you from the dead.
That's the way it works, isn't it? Yeah. Knowing this game. Alright, so
I just can't find the name of this place.
I thought it's not in my notes either.
I apologise. We are just going to have to deal with that and move on.
When is that happening?
So that is going to be happening tonight.
Tonight! That's when the best things happen.
All the best things happen tonight. Secondly, you find, and this is what your success 3 is going to get you.
Thank you.
You find specifically that Alban Grau has not just been dabbling in the occult, he's also been getting into some very weird and esoteric groups. Specifically, he's been hanging out with a crew called the Saturnus Fraterni, or the Brotherhood of Saturn. And
that's
they,
not German, is it? It's
no, it's
Latin
kind
or
of
something.
butchered Latin. It's not. It's odd. It's kind of a total mess of Fraternitas Saturni. Not a good thing to hear.
Okay. I would prefer not to go back to that bar without my friends.
Fair enough. So you're going to try and track down your companions?
Yes.
Okay. So, jumping back, you return back to your home by car, and Percy is basically exhausted, is being not very well, and is going to go and rest for some time.
Nice. I'm gonna hit up this dude's house. Sorry, this dude's family's house.
This dude's family, the Kilmer family?
The Kilmers, yeah, with my note in hand. I expect this to be a quick visit.
Yeah.
I also stop.
You probably did it on the way then. You haven't gone all the way back home then, but Percy will stay in the car.
Perfect. I also, in that case, then yeah, I'll just do that on the way past.
Yeah, okay. So, as you go past the Kilmer house, you stop. It takes you a while to find. Your driver is very good at sort of finding these places and calls around and manages to sort things out. But it took him a while because they're staying with family, and you arrive in sort of one of the poorer areas of Berlin, and you come to sort of a large sort of block of houses, and out of a very small apartment, which appears to be very busy, and you can see this area is not particularly prosperous. You're indicated to one of the doors with peeling paint, and you can sort of see shapes moving through. That is the house.
Very well. I will approach and rap firmly on the door. It's got a door knock, I'll use that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, knuckles it is.
All right.
Is that a luck roll? Is there a door knocker?
No,
It's a credit rating test on
knuckles.
the other
I'm afraid. Credit rating test on their
Goodness.
pass. They are penniless, so you are now richer than them.
Have they stolen a doorknob and enchanted on there?
You hear sounds for a minute, and the door opens, and a young man, probably in his mid-20s, is there. He looks quite thin. Can you make a psychology test just to get a read on him? No. Okay. Young man, military age.
Brother range for Lucas?
brother range. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon.
My name is Klaus Landsrider. I'm here on behalf of your brother, I presume, Lucas Kilmer. It is your brother, yes?
Yeah.
Speak up.
And you can see more people are sort of moving, and they appear to be hearing this conversation. He begins to sort of turn, and you can hear sort of someone yell from the room nearby, and a younger man, probably about 13, comes forward and sort of looks out and looks towards you and says, what do you want? Lucas is dead. What could you possibly want?
No, your brother is awoken. He was in he was sleeping for quite some time. Have you not been receiving letters or something?
The boy looks completely shocked and starts to kind of look back and forth, and the man in front of you turns back and says, he's lying. Lucas is dead.
I'm not. I've spoken with him only this morning.
Two more figures appear in the hallway. This time a older man with sort of graying hair and a large gut, and this woman wearing sort of a tight headdress. As everyone sort of starts to bustle forward, the youngest boy, the 13-year-old, begins to step forward and ask questions, and the older man sort of grabs him and says, go back to your room, and shoves him away. And the boy turns to sort of come back, and the father, you would assume, strikes him across the face and screams at him to go back to his room. The woman next to him begins to burst into tears, and the younger man at the front turns towards you and says, I'm sorry, Lucas Kilmer is dead. Thank
He's
you.
not. I'm going to put a hand on it. He is not. I was speaking to him this morning. As I understand it, you are not responding to him.
The young man kind of steps, he steps away, and he makes room for his parents, you assume, to step forward. The father kind of takes a couple of steps forward and says, look, we can't do anything. What do you want us to do?
Take your son back.
We can't take him. We don't have enough money to feed ourselves. We can't take in a cripple.
It's not up for debate. Your son fought for you and for his country at personal letter. He is yours to deal with. Make sure he is well.
I'm thinking you're going to make it a persuade or an intimidate.
It's intimidate.
Yeah, make it intimidate.
I'm better than these people. They're going to have to listen. It's not an option. Success one.
Hey.
The father seems particularly taken aback, but you see kind of this look in his eye, and his wife grabs him by the arm and kind of whispers, "I have to take him back." And he takes the letter and holds it and opens it, and he pulls it out and undoes it. And as he begins to read it, it's not his child's handwriting, but there's similar wording and phrasing. You can see him start to get choked up. He turns away, kind of wiping tears from his eyes, and the woman steps forward and says, "Thank you. We will come and find him. We will bring him back."
He has been through the war, and he has seen many horrible things since then. Make sure he is well. Tend to him. If you have serious concerns about being able to keep him and your family, you can contact me. The business card. Here.
She takes it and holds it reverently.
I'm sure we can sort something out.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will find him.
Good.
You turn, you walk back towards the car, kind of feeling possibly a little... Does you think does this put you at ease, or is it kind of just done now?
Genuinely, I mean, I think it's a bit foreign. Bass is not good with poor people. I don't think he realizes the quandary he's put them in.
Yeah.
No, he thinks it's a positive thing. Job well done.
Okay. You turn back happily, get into the car, and you are whisked back towards your home.
Booyah.
Right. Now, you probably would have known Klaus's address.
I've been to his house.
Yeah, you've been to his house.
He's got a debt there.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And with interest...
Well, no.
2 years plus.
That depends whether I showed up to court or not, because you paid my bail, but if I showed up to court, then you would have gotten that back.
Better have showed up to
Actually, that's an entirely good point. Your credit rating went up by 10, and you.
Yeah.
I think he's paid you back.
Oh, we're good.
So I must not have been to prison. So I must have shown up to court and got off.
Yeah. I mean,
Did you give me my money back? Or did you keep it? That's where the plus 10 was.
That is a question.
I'm getting that money, or I'm getting a finger.
Was the money donated to the people of Berlin that you might better do your job?
It was not.
So that's most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, all the equipment in your that little.
I don't know. He's not poor anymore. When I find out, I'm going to be furious.
Yeah. Well, I'll show up a bit cleaner. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's like
Suspicious.
because I think like my appearance is 60, slightly above average. I think my appearance was like originally 80,
Yeah.
and then the homelessness like dropped to 20 points.
Yep.
And now I'm not homeless, but I think like the extra scars and the rough and tumble kind of thing has dropped it back down to 60. That's what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair enough. So. You when you arrive, you're told by one of your other house staff that you have another guest, and you're ushered into your sitting room. Kind of busy Percy heads straight upstairs, and when you come in, there is a sort of young, smartly dressed, well, kind of youngish. No, you're about 50.
He's older,
50
he's
now.
older than I am.
Yeah,
I'm 50
there
now.
is a middle-aged, sort of well-dressed man sitting in a chair. Looks, you don't recognize him for a second, and then you kind of do a double take because it is Joseph, and he appears to be doing very well.
Ah, the missing man.
Also, make a spot hidden check.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Nice.
Shit. Well grasped. Success. Okay.
I'm sure I can put together this.
You immediately realize that everything has been swapped. You will need to make a sanity check.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Not like this. Fail.
Just one.
Little tickle.
Little tickle.
My leg is swapped sides.
The missing man.
Yes, my friend, it is good to see you again.
Yes, it's
Though
been.
I cannot say for sure how long it has been,
No.
and I hope you feel the same way.
Yes, we have been talking as well. We have spoken with Irma, one of the gentlemen. Released. Oh, sorry, the gentlemen were released. I don't know that there were others. They have also woken up. It seems that our foray into a dream has had lasting effects. I am curious, though, and I'd close the door behind us so that many staff cannot hear. Give it a rap just to make sure they're not listening, because they do. I'm curious as to how your limbs seem to have changed, and I've succeeded to spot him. Do I look? If looking closer, do I spot the scars?
Yeah,
and everything?
you can put it all together.
Yes, seems the trip to the mirror in the theater that it has a lasting impact on me. You did not suffer the same.
I did not.
Intriguing. We can tell these things are seemingly more arts than science. Who can say what effects they have on each of us?
I'm gonna nod. I'm gonna stalk across the room towards him as I do. I'm gonna see if I can shake any truth loose. I wanna loom across him, and then wouldn't be lying to me now, would you?
No!
It wouldn't be something strange that snuck from dream into waking. It would be something much smarter dressed, something that thinks it is Yosef, but is not. Would you? Nasty, lying little creature. Can I make an intimidation test, please?
Absolutely, and I think Joseph, you can make a sanity check at this point.
Oh, don't make me do that.
No! I want to push and I failed! I need this!
In fact, I'll tell you what. These with these interpersonal things,
Is it a big
sometimes you want
power?
rolls. Hold off that roll for a second, because sometimes you want rolls, sometimes you don't. And you know what? I think it is just more interesting to say Klaus is an insanely intimidating person. He's very scary. You're also a guy who's seen a lot,
Yeah.
and you have a pretty
I'm also
well.
intimidatingly insane. So.
Yes. So as he
Match
moves
made in
over
heaven.
with you, what is your reaction?
You're right. There is a good chance that I am something that thinks it is Yosef. The truth is, you or I could not say either way.
Well then, are your goals? You also foreknow, not entirely sure you understood what you were doing, so as long as this is working with us.
Yes, as far as I can tell, the last years I have been doing my best to help people and protect the people of Berlin. I think you have no reason to mistrust me, any more than I have reason to mistrust myself. It is not comforting, I know, but it is what I offer.
If I have your word, then that is enough.
Arriving now at Berlin Central Station.
What is?
What is?
Right, nothing. Let us fetch a drink or something. We can talk about next steps under more personal terms. I think about what you're doing.
Berlin Central
And then
Station,
keep walking.
which
yeah.
is, of course, your dreamland
I love that.
persona bleeding through. I think that's awesome. So, it has been. You sort of have things brought in for you. Your house staff continuing to work about. Some drinks are brought in. Some food is prepared. You find that you're both kind of ravenously hungry. You haven't really eaten anything in years, or at least it feels that way.
Yeah.
You sort of like pick up food. You're experiencing it all for the same time, and it's foreign to everything. It gets quite exciting. Along with the food and the drinks, has also brought a message. Which it means completely nothing to you, but might mean something to you. So one of your house staff comes in and says, "Oh, and so we received a strange phone call earlier today. A woman, she wouldn't give her name. She had a cryptic message. She said the goddess of the moon is alive and well in Berlin.
The goddess of the
moon. She seemed mad of some sort."
Pay it no heed.
Yes.
So it's nothing.
No, that should not be easily disregarded. I received several strange phone calls just today.
From where did you have a phone?
Well,
You're not in prison again, are you?
no. The last few years have been as mysterious to me as to you, I suspect. I have a permanent address, as it were.
Well,
I know not from whence it came, but...
good man! Now you're getting it! You need a home, and you can bring into a crew wealth. I know, this is good. You're moving, you're growing into your own skin. Excellent. But perhaps there is something to this, mirror Joseph.
But more importantly, the phone call, it was a woman, a deep-voiced woman.
Yes, you're correct.
She called me. She told me that memory of Berber lives on, and that I should remember my old friend Alban Grau.
And this one has mentioned the goddess of the moon. Do you know what that?
Before I arrived, I made some inquiries. Alban Grau is now involved more heavily with the occult. Specifically, a group calling themselves the Fraternitas Saturni,
I don't.
the Brotherhood of Saturn. Who is a Roman? Is he the Roman
You can make an occult test for me.
god? Sure.
Is that referring to the planet rather than the silk thing?
Saturn, yes.
Yes.
Well, I know that.
Ooh, that's good, actually.
No, it's not.
Is it?
It's got base.
No.
Base occult. Saturn. Oh no, I can't. No, yeah, Saturn is a Roman god, but I can't remember who the Greek equivalent is.
But we know that it's a. Like I'm
Yeah,
just going
Saturn.
Saturn moon.
Well, the planets
Yeah.
are named after the Roman gods, and now there is a goddess of the moon involved with the same people. What are we to make of that?
These people, they search for meaning wherever they can find it. They looked at the moon and they see a god. I could not tell you. But if Grau is relation, if there is a strange woman who knows both of our addresses, and in theory knows what you have been doing in the meantime, then that befits some investigation at the least.
Quite right. He is giving a lecture to the occult, a bar near Andreaplatz tonight.
Right. Well, that's short notice, but I'm sure we can rustle something. I think we should attend. Also, he is we had some questions when last we spoke with him, and I think we could begin to do a little digging.
That is, if we haven't spoken to him the last 2 years also.
I'll probably keep like a pretty meticulous diary.
Yep.
You just, special calls on the things. Any and growl.
You would have met with him once or twice.
Okay.
Once just after the events.
I think I also said, like, while I was in my downtime, I was kind of not. I was pushing away all the weird a bit. So
Yeah.
it was probably.
You probably met with him once then.
and it was to be like, I'm good. Thank you. though.
Thank you. I don't want any more to do with this. Go away, you and your creepy wizard magic.
Yeah. Well, it appears that I have spoken with him, so he is probably not. He probably wouldn't be shocked to see us both.
Hopefully he is still able to render aid.
All right. Well, let's also the gentleman whose performance we saw, Berber's partner. We need to do some digging there. If what he did was intentional, then I rather think that, well,
Should not happen to anyone else.
have a conversation with him. Make sure he understands the severity he's done.
Have we heard the news yet that Berber
Yes,
is dead?
you both definitely have seen the papers. So
Okay.
you would both be aware that
Well.
Berber has.
Curious coincidence. This is when we wake up.
I think you and I both know that hardly could.
Yeah, I'd rather agree. Well, then it seems like that was our first point of call, and this strange piano-playing man is our second. We also still have we have the pamphlets with the tomes to like half follow up on.
Yes,
right?
you
Like
do
those-
have those pamphlets. Yes.
Pamphlets.
We nixed them when we went to see Berber. We grabbed a couple of occult pamphlets.
You took them and you put everything
Okay.
that you had that was related to the occult in a chest in the base of your cupboard and have not looked at it since. When you go up to get it,
I want to at least look to see if they say Brotherhood of Saturn or whatever.
you will go up and you will have a read of them, and you absolutely they contain reference to the Brotherhood of Saturn. Specifically, these are all written by a fellow called I'm getting his exact name. Once again, I'm going to butcher pronunciation here, but Gruer. A writer named Gruer, who runs, and they are all sold by the Occult Bookshop Inveha, INVEHA.
Sorry, what?
The Occult Bookshop Inveha, INVEHA. So they're all written by the owner of this bookshop. Now, in that chest, there is
Berlin.
also all of.
Sorry, where's the bookshop based?
It is in Berlin.
It's Berlin.
It is in
okay.
Berlin. It's not too far from the Andreaplatz. Also, you can see in there is also a section of correspondence that you have had with your uncle.
Yay!
Yes. Unfortunately, you were pushing away a lot of the reading, so you have been a little bit cold, but you haven't destroyed the relationship or
Yeah.
anything. The last one is your uncle kind of writing back, being like, I can see you must be busy, I'm going to not contact you for a while, and if you want to write back, you can. And you totally could send him a
breaks
lovely
my
message
heart.
now.
I'm rather busy, but I will make a mental note to do so as soon as possible. I'll grab a piece of paper and intend to write a message and get a couple of books. Actually, it's a bookstore. I'll grab some there. Yeah,
All right.
fantastic.
So what is your route going to be? You're gathering up your things.
I'll tell you. There's a couple of pamphlets that we found from Berber's partner, and hear that there are ties to a gentleman called something Gruer, who may have written the pamphlets and owns an occult bookshop. It's near the Andreaplatz, so one could easily lead to the other.
Seems we have a plan of action.
It is an evening event, the talk.
Yes.
Perhaps the
Right.
bookstore first. There's a good chance they are moving to attend anyway. Perhaps we can travel with them.
Should also see if there will be funeral notices for that woman. Perhaps there we will find the honest as well.
Good thing to. It's a good note. Yes, we should keep an eye on that. As a figure so large as Berber, there will probably be a public gathering, something. And I travel in certain circles. I might be able to put something together. And you are moving into similar circles.
He looks at you with true admiration in his eye.
Well done.
We have a plan of action. Some very exciting things are going to start happening very, very quickly. We'll be back in just a moment. As we dive into the next part of this scenario, things are going to start getting dangerous. We'll see you again soon. Hello, we're back. Thank you for joining us. We're here diving into the really cool, really exciting next spooky part of our Burly the Wicked City adventure. So, let's dive back into things. As you guys all get together, loading up into your car, ready to leave, Percy, you've come back from resting upstairs and you're sort of back and ready to go. You've got your bike. Are you going to take the car in? We'll get a bit busy in the centre of Berlin.
What do you mean the car?
One of my cars.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I'm going to cycle on principle.
Yeah, that's
What's
fine.
your credit rating at these days?
It's something quite rude asking someone how much they earn, actually, so I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Get out of here, get out of here. It's more than enough.
Mine's 15. I'm telling you that.
So will you be driving in or not?
Mine's 16.
Well, I'll drive in. I
You'll
think
drive in.
someone's either giving me an apology or walking. Which is going to be J-Man.
I apologize for asking about your fictional characters.
That works
number.
both ways.
What?
Jackson
Oh, yeah, it does.
and
yeah.
Yusuf.
Very good. I apologize for inquiring about a statistic.
It's quite all right, but you're beginning to move into societies and things now, and this is something that you need to be aware of. So I tell you what, you sit up here with me, and I'll explain as we go the intricacies of the social dance.
So not to shoot my character in the foot, would my credit rating have gone down?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'll tell you what, you can...
Reduce by D10.
Yeah, just reduce it flat by D10.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I should not have said
Yes.
anything.
What was it?
16.
You're very honest.
I rolled a 4. Okay, it's fine. It's
Yes.
12 now.
Was it
It's
16? It was just above yours.
Oh my god, I swapped.
Congratulations, you're the second wealthiest. Welcome to the team, baby.
So, you're cycling because you want to have your bike. You're sort of getting back into things. You're moving again. You're feeling free. Having been trapped next to this theatre for months and months and months, you're so happy to be just tearing along with the wind in your hair. It's really nice. Two of you drive in, and at first, you know, they're way, way, way ahead of you. But then as they get into the traffic of central Berlin, diving around trolley cars, you kind of catch back up eventually.
I knock
and
on the window.
Hooligan!
And it ends with the two of you arriving at the cult bookshop Vienna at the same time. It is on a quite North Berlin street. None of you are particularly clued into what occult bookshops in Berlin, but this looks fairly new. It's at the intersection of the Zionstraße and Anklammerstraße, or Zion Church Street and Anklammerstraße, which I don't have a translation for.
What was the name of the shop again? Sorry?
The occult bookshop in Veha. Inveha.
I didn't realize that was the name.
Just
I thought it was just the description.
No, the
It's
occult bookshop in Veha. It is called that. It's very. Yeah, you know, it's nice. It's a very simple storefront. You walk in, it's quite a large bookshop. They've got a little bit of that sort of esoteric air about it. There's not many windows. The bookshelves are tall and looming. Nice wood. They've got all kinds of books all over there, and you sort of glance around. A tinkling bell announces your arrival, and as you step inside, you realize that there is no one here. It just kind of, it's empty.
Can we get?
Let us in though.
Yeah, you just walk in, and there doesn't appear to be anyone there.
Is there a sense of whether this place has popped up since occultism became fashionable, or is it genuine? Are they poses?
Occult has been fashionable in Berlin for quite a while. This looks newer than occult, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like this, you know, this is probably built in the last couple of years.
So not first wave.
No, not OG.
Not established.
I mean, it's at least a couple of years because the pamphlets are a couple of years old. And it refers to it.
It's been at least 2 years.
Specifically, it refers to the author who owns the bookshop.
And I did some.
And you look up and you
Dust
figure out
Google.
that yes, exactly.
Okay.
Does the bookshop look... Is it kind of like a musty, run-down bookshop, or is it like... They're kind of like books pulled out and kind of left. Like, is it clear that people come here often, or is it kind of just like...
It's on the edge. You can either imagine it as the best of those dusty occult shops,
Right.
or the worst of a real bookshop, if you know what I mean. Like it's right, like you know, all the shelves are full, all the books are there. It doesn't smell bad. You know, it's.
But is it... to clarify, is it secondhand books? Are they clearly new books, or are they?
Some of them are new, some of them are secondhand.
Okay.
Some of them are sort of recently bound.
Occult's
books.
a pretty niche one. They're probably
You
not-
begin to like look through. There's or books on. There, as well as sort of standard religious texts. There's a lot of, Egyptian architecture, Peruvian sacrificial rites, psychoanalysis, hypnotism, physics, electromagnetism,
Heresy.
Kabbalism.
Wait, physics.
Math.
Sorry, wait. What?
Heliocentrism.
Yeah.
Vaccination.
This says bloodletting's wrong.
Is there anything on like? So, where is psychology at this point? Is it still kind of like weird and like alienist? Or is it-
Psychology. I mean, it's still there's psychoanalysis.
Does your skull size factor in?
Phrenology has, I believe, been formally disavowed
Okay.
in
Dang it.
most of the world at this time, but I am sure that someone will correct me.
Takes
on
a
it.
while to
I'm
filter
Googling
out.
it, I'm curious.
My great grandfather was a phrenologist.
Wikipedia says
dear.
it's a pseudoscience.
Yes, he was he was delivered the head of Mad Dog Morgan, the famous Australian bushranger, in a box, and in his diary he wrote that it was in a state of too much decay to properly provide a phrenological.
Damn,
Too many
that's-
holes in
yeah,
the
exactly.
skull.
Yeah.
I don't know how this person died. I assumed.
Yeah, I would assume so
Head
too.
exploded.
Bushrangers, tend to not go well.
So I guess I not really knowing why we're here because I wasn't paying attention.
You're tracking down the pamphlets that you found back in the original session of this scenario.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay.
The
No, I
one
meant
that-
like Percy was physically not
Yes.
present.
We've got-
I might have a peruse. I have an interest in psychology.
Yeah. You can make a library
No
use
one's
check
here.
or a psychology check. Actually, so it's like this would be a psychoanalysis check. Actually, I'd be asking for because it's to do
Okay.
with the medicine, not the.
All right. Okay. Because I have 35 in psychology, but then 1 in psychoanalysis.
Yeah. So psychology is more reading people.
But you can take
psychoanalysis-
books on reading people.
Yeah,
right?
they
Like
would
that's
be.
the,
Yeah, actually,
that's
that
the
makes
line.
sense. Yeah, but you can make a psychology test or a library use test.
Ooh,
Oh,
shit.
they're both the same.
Discredited as a scientific theory in 1840.
Oh wow.
Not a pass.
But I guess people just held on to it.
Yeah, not a pass. Unfortunately, like you look at the titles don't really leap up at you. A lot of them are quite weird. You spot something on like there's a like all kinds of different schools of various forms of magic. As you're strolling through and browsing, what are the two of you doing?
I'm going to take an absolute stab in the dark with a 14% chance. Can I roll Cthulhu Mythos to see if there are any genuine Mythos
Ooh.
books?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
14%. Let's
Oh
not
man,
get our
it's
hopes
the
up.
The
Necronomicon.
numbers are there. Yeah, exactly.
Not that we think that's
no,
important.
or
Oh, son.
I wanted the fumble.
It's not a fumble.
It might be a fumble.
It is the
Real
Necronomicon.
Okay.
yeah. Same thing, different result.
95 on 14? That's not quite a fumble. Is it?
You pick
wrap.
up a book on dreams.
Ah!
To shake, and then you're no, it's just it's not that. And you manage to sort of relax and go, okay. And yourself, Klaus?
I'm not really a book guy.
You kind of just
I think people that own bookstores are nerds. I will, however, have a look. I need to get my uncle a Prezi.
oh, fair enough.
So I'm gonna actually. First of all, I'm gonna loudly see if anyone's home. I'm gonna go, hello. And then if there's a button, I'll go ding. Give him no time to respond. Then bing, 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 bing.
Fantastic. You yell. You start to ring this bell that's on the desk frantically as quickly as you can.
Is there like an upstairs or like stairs or anything?
There is a back room, and you do hear after a couple of
Communist
seconds
books.
movement coming from the back room, and someone saying, hold on, I'm coming."
Yeah, I feel a little bad now.
And this...
we can meet you around the back if it's easier.
No, I'm already out somewhere. The curtain pulls back, and this very old, shrunken, bald man comes out and begins to kind of stroll. And he's wearing a very sort of thin pair of glasses, and he looks at you all. He walks up to the front of the desk. He stands in front of you, and he begins to sort of move around a couple of papers in front of you. It takes probably about 5 seconds. He puts here. Can I help you?
Yes.
Do we already have his name from the pamphlets? Is that right?
You have a name, yes.
There is a Gruer.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Grow.
Mr. Gruer.
You've been reading my work. Yes, although Gruer is a name that I take when I am publishing my work. If I'm sure you understand. My real name is Gregor.
Some of these pamphlets, they were written in English.
English.
Yes.
Okay,
And you can tell he has a slight.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm actually from South Africa. And a variety of time around various parts of England. Travels have brought across to England and Germany.
Right. Well, very good. Listen, do you have any ties with a woman who we found these pamphlets with? We are following up on, as such things are, Anita Berber. Also, she was in the paper recently.
Anita Berber, the actress.
Did you ever meet her in person?
Anita Berber.
The actress.
Yes, no, I'm afraid no. I never had the pleasure of meeting her, although I have met her husband.
I have
Oh,
forgotten his name.
Henri, I believe
That's
his
it.
name was.
Yes. He came in here a few times. He brought some of my pamphlets. I think he was an amateur dabbler in the arts, nothing more, no real power. But
If you're speaking of real power, then do you possess it?
of course, I have dedicated my life to the study of gold.
Just, for example, when you say real power, what kind, like, of power?
Oh, you know what I learned? Greatest secret I was of. What secret? I might encourage you all to buy some books. I can recommend some excellent introduction to the power of the occult. What particularly has you interested? There are many forms of power that I can suggest and recommend.
Power that would be conveyed by music.
Music.
Or power in dreams, dreaming magic.
Or anything that has moons in it will also suffice.
Or very fields. Study of are you a musician?
I have been drawn into it quite reluctantly.
I see. How adept are you in classical training?
Not at all, but I suppose it's never too late to learn.
Well, of course, far be it from me to discourage you from one of my books, but unless you are impeccably trained, I would suggest that you begin by studying. I would suggest the piano is one of the most pure examples of the crafts, although on the harpsichord I have come around to recently.
You don't have any
Right.
books on arcane cannons, would you?
Arcane cannons. Well, I believe in some of the older texts of the Gnostic era there was some mention. Well, not specifically, no. But to answer your other questions, the moon, where there's been worship of
Goddess, if you haven't.
goddess of the moon.
Yeah. It has been mentioned to us recently.
Well, there are many goddesses of the moon. The most prominent link to real power would be the Babylonian goddesses, Ishtar, the mother, many other forms like that. I can absolutely recommend some texts, and he starts to point out books. And your inquiry, remind me again, my dear?
Dreams.
Dreams.
Magic, not magic through dreaming, but magic that can induce people to dream. Or the other way around. I'm not picky.
I'm actually aware of a lecturer, an expert in the magic of dreaming, a man named Alden Grau. I believe he'll be speaking this evening.
Yes, we have made plans to attend ourselves.
Wow.
As he's a master of the magic of dreams and mirrors. It'll be very interesting, I think you will find.
Will you be attending?
No, I'm afraid that my powers far succeed. There's nothing he can teach.
Have you known him for a long time?
Well, we are acquaintances, yes, and I have been his acquaintance for rather a long time. He has purchased books of mine in the past, although recently he has appeared for.
Oh, was there a fallout, if you don't mind me asking?
Rather personal question, but no, there's simply some people fade in and out of interest of the occult, and it would seem that his interest has faded in recent.
He is giving a lecture on.
I believe that interests lie more in
Theatricality or.
well, yes, for the theatricality and the financial reward that can rather than a true appreciation of the art and craft.
Sorry, not. There is a financial component?
Absolutely. Well, I run a store, you can see, but there are many ways. Haven't you
Run
heard
something.
the tales of the great alchemists that could turn lead into gold?
Tales that would appeal very much to those who already carry a significant weight of gold.
Tales that would crash the stock market if they were true. Best to keep that hidden, I think. No, not something that we looked into.
So stories only appeal to those who already have too much money to spend.
I mean, I'm not interested.
Percy gets.
Don't insist.
We'll follow it up after.
I'd like to buy a couple of books. Do you have any suggestions for a novice read? No, he's a very good reader. I'm someone who is something complicated that will last some time. Oh, and big print can be read in the dark.
Absolutely. He kind of gestures at his own glasses, an invention I know all too well. He kind of walks out. He will ask. He'll probably ask you, because you are huge, to
Yay.
reach some things from top shelves. But he points and gives you like a stack of books. He will specify, of course, German, Latin, English.
German, please.
German.
Also, do you mention anything on like underground anything, people or similar things?
I do believe I have a collection of Norse legends that speak of old tales of subterranean creatures that live.
That will do. Excellent. Thank
Really
you.
good. Collects, selection of Norse texts and brings them and puts them together.
Perfect.
I would grab a sheet music for beginners. Kindergarten piano. Kindergarten piano.
He probably doesn't sell anything so basic,
damn.
honestly, but I'll tell you what, out of pity, he goes into the back room and he brings out like my grandson used this for a time. And
Excellent.
Well, since we're all getting books, and I assume it's okay if you pay today, you just have,
If I pay for them, I own them.
That's great.
I'm happy to pay for them. You can read them every now and then, but that will be mine.
Sure. Does he have like a book on like? Oh, I guess we're already going to this guy's lecture on dreams. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't have very much money, and I don't want to.
We can set something up.
No. I think you know what?
I
Maybe
can add it to the existing debt.
the ledger.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather not further indenture myself to this.
Okay.
Illiberal.
Well-
Percy turns around, I want a book on dreaming.
Pardon me?
I'd like a book on dreaming or any sort of magics that you have.
Very good.
I'll buy it. It's adjacent. That's fine.
Very good. I will text for you, and he'll go about and he'll track a few things.
I will quietly simmer.
Who has the highest psychology?
I have 35. I have the highest
Please
psychology.
make a psychology test.
Hell
Mine's
yeah.
ticked. I succeeded on a roll at some point. Ooh.
Ooh, no.
Okay. He kind of starts to. He seems to be thinking about something when you mention dreaming books, but he gets everything and kind of pushes them towards you.
Thank you.
That's quite all right. He quotes you what is an insane amount for some books. But
I can't back out now. I just did it like a...
No, we can haggle. I have no skin in this. I just.
Okay.
I will not be reduced to a haggle over powers that can change the nature of the world.
Wait,
That said, I suppose I could let them go for not a penny.
Wait, is it? Hang on. Is it still November 10th?
Yes.
Is it not? Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and invoke some importance about the date.
You can make an intimidate check, absolutely.
Yeah, make an intimidate check.
What's important about the date?
November
The
10th.
10th of November. You know, it's tomorrow
Armistice
is
Day.
Remembrance Day, and we have a veteran among us.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's,
true.
That's the angle I'm taking with this.
3 veterans.
No!
Is that a fumble?
Yeah, 100.
100.
So you are we all 3 veterans?
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow, I'll have you know, is in fact what would we call? It's not Remembrance Day. That's what we call it. But
Yeah,
is that,
the Armistice Day.
Armistice Day. You know, and how can you quote us that we fought for countries? Not necessarily this one.
So did 3 of my sons.
Ooh.
And none of them returned.
Read everything. I am just gonna very quietly, and it's not gonna work because I'm massive. Just gonna turn around. No, I'm not even turn around. I'm just gonna start stepping backwards.
Yeah.
You said 100. Thank you for your service. Get the books. I always even ask him to wrap them up.
Make a hasty retreat.
I unlock my bike.
And you just cycle into the river. Float away.
You leave the store laden with guilt books.
Do you have to roll a sanity check? Cringe?
Oh, no, that's not quite that bad. But it's,
Like a
pretty
D4
bad.
of damage.
Oh man, I put the books. I put
No,
the books in the
the
car.
next 24 hours, every 10 minutes.
Tonight when you're in bed.
Oh, that's the worst. Lying in bed thinking of something you did that was dumb 10 years ago. And, now I can't sleep.
The time. Shit.
Indefinitely insane.
All right, I put the books in the car. I don't think we need them. We don't want to read any of these now.
All right, so the books are placed in the car. You've probably got another couple of hours before you need to be at this event.
Please.
Fair enough.
Pre-sesh.
Absolutely. I mean, it's.
Get a couple of, I'm not sitting through a flipping occult lecture sober. We're gonna get a couple of drinks. Yeah, right?
It is
No,
at a bar. I'm not sure how much advanced preparation we need.
They gouge you at these things. They're expensive.
I will come with you, but I will stick to ginger beer or whatever the local equivalent is.
Yep.
Okay, if we have several hours to spare, perhaps it's worth looking into preparations for
What?
the woman's funeral.
We
Whose
could check in
funeral?
the paper.
Anita.
Yeah.
When is her funeral?
She died today.
I know
Will
she-
be
Oh, we
soon.
don't know. We don't know.
Oh, okay.
You would know the hospital
Wait,
she's passed away at.
Oh, is it the
Ah.
main one?
I can get the
The
exact name of it, but there's several hospitals in Berlin. Specifically,
Der
she
Hospital.
has passed
Das.
away.
Yeah. Is Das
Oh,
singular or
there's
is
like,
Das
there's
singular?
like.
Wow, I feel like
See you
this is.
Googling
They've got
German
like
grammar
16
earlier.
pronouns.
I feel
and
like this is not a
articles.
rabbit hole.
It's
we
not
wanna,
something I'm gonna
We
touch.
really want to know.
Um,
I want to stay away from
Okay, Google
German
Translate.
grammar.
Oh, it's a terrifying beast.
Australians.
Roll a sanity check.
um,
What a word for hospital! Krankenhaus.
Krankenhaus.
Sorry, Das
Das
Krankenhaus.
Krankenhaus.
Holy shit, that's a band. It's like a
Krankenhaus?
German electronic
I could imagine
Welcome.
that. I think
What, like Kraftwerk?
tool.
that.
Das Krankenhaus.
All right.
Oh yeah.
So
Changing characters. I'm gonna be a DJ.
Oh, right.
Well, it gets worse when you know that Krunken means suffer.
Suffering
Suffer house
Oh dear.
is a hospital.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Berber actually didn't die in
the
a hospital.
Krankenhaus?
She did not die. She died in a hotel room.
Oh, that's somehow worse.
And that she's surrounded by icons of Christ and the Holy Virgin that she requested be brought in.
Wait, so she didn't die suddenly? It was.
No, she died at the end of the official cause of death is consumption, so tuberculosis.
And of course, the gentleman with the
That's what
hotel is
killed her?
Terror Building.
Yes, of course. And she will be buried soon in the cemetery, which is called Charming Lovely Place that everyone.
Yeah. Genuinely, where does it say when she's gonna be buried?
Okay, well, you have a chance to get some information about this. So while you come out, you get near the bar, and you buy some sort of evening editions. Whoever has the library use, make a test. Highest library use, make a high library use test.
I got 35.
All yours, puss.
Whoa, well, I mean, last time I had the highest of anything.
Oh. That's good.
That is a. It's not
That's with
quite.
advantage?
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I said
That's not gonna-
You're all
You
working
can't go
together.
lower.
That won't help.
I'm gonna just spend 1 luck to make that a success 3
Oh, okay, fantastic. Oh.
because I rolled
Reaper
8.
has given us
I know, is that true?
Some amazing
Holy
information.
shit! An ambulance is a cranking wagon! Sorry, just to be clear, like imagine you like full over. Wee woo, wee woo. Here comes the cranking wagon.
Oh,
you get in
dear.
that and you go, where are you taking me, sir? Am I well? They go, no, you're not. We're going to the cranking house.
Oh dear.
Phenomenal.
The Suffermobile.
Are
So
we being offensive now?
I don't. Let's.
I'm not
Let's.
Making
Yeah.
fun of the German language.
unless
amazing.
you want a very tough German person to put us all in the Kranken house, then we better be careful.
Anyway, yeah, success 3.
Bill
All right.
Pickers,
So
Kranken.
so you begin to look through and you kind of like scan through some details. In fact, just by chance, from your old days in photography, you happen to know someone who has been following, and you sort of worked in film and stuff like that. You know someone who would have been following Anita Berber, and you place some calls. And after a lot of kind of, oh my God, you got out of prison, you're okay. I'm so glad to hear. You managed to hear
yes.
that. She's going to be buried in 4 days at St. Thomas Cemetery in New Cologne. The official cause of death is of consumption. But you also get some hot goss with a success 3. You hear that it's that her husband Henri, the very same day, and this is in the evening paper because by noon he was seen at a concert dancing with his new partner.
Are you fucking
frantically and
serious?
energetically, and people have attributed that to grief. Of course, you know he's just grieving in his own way.
But like
there's-
another woman, right?
I mean, she's just his dance partner.
Okay. So, how do we spell Henri, by the way? Is it literally just
Henri,
Henry?
Henri.
Oh, okay. So
Henri
it has...
Chatin, Chatin hyphen Hoffman, Hoffmann. Henri Chatin Hoffman. And
So
Chatin
he-
is with
he was-
a little triangle above.
Yeah,
Oh, what are
I
you
can
doing,
just-
Jimmy?
Yeah.
So he was seen dancing with a new dance
I demand a circumflex
partner,
accent or I'll be very upset.
Yeah.
that evening.
Oh, you know, already within hours.
Within hours.
Yeah. So he's
To the
already
point that he might not have been there when she died.
That is possible, yes.
Curious
How
and
many
curious.
this woman who was having anesthetic for breakfast died of tuberculosis?
Oh, I do not think that's what. Ooh, can I argue a credit rating test for when rich people die, how they phrase, is there like a classic?
Oh, is there like
this
a-
means they died of drug overdose. This
Yes.
means they were found in a brothel.
Absolutely.
This means
She died at the height of her life.
Yeah.
Drugs.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Credit rating or would it be
Yeah,
something
that's the
else?
credit rating. I buy that.
Nice. Success.
Yeah, you absolutely you know of celebrities that who have been in her position, who have been sort of drug addicts and stuff like that, who have and you know often it actually is consumption, but it's consumption derived from being having a destroyed
Tearing your immune system,
and,
yeah.
tearing your body to shreds.
So basically, she did too many drugs.
Nightcat reminds us she did drink anesthetic for breakfast.
That's
Yes.
what I said.
Yeah, it's insane. So, all right. So basically, she coked out of her mind again,
Yes.
and then probably slowly withered. I mean, she looks horrible when we saw her last. It's been 2 years.
Oh,
It's
yes.
so
And
so that
just
tracks.
seems-
If anything, good on her for making it too.
There would be enough photos that you would be able to see that she had been on a sharp decline.
Jeez.
And for those following along at home, please feel free to Google the death of Anita Berber. You can.
This
Wikipedia
was
that.
light reading for
Yeah.
Tuesday evenings.
Exactly, just a little bit of fun.
Okay.
Okay, so
Well,
Henri seems like he.
Made a miraculous recovery. The throes of grief.
he seemed, if I remember correctly, when we saw him last, he was, when he played his piece for us, he dumped Berber between us and then began to play. Now, she was in the room as well when this whole thing happened. Why was she not seen in the dreaming area with us?
Maybe because she was already like. Maybe she was already maybe she was already there. Maybe
saying-
she's been kind of in and out of it.
It could be that he was taking advantage of her in some way. It may be that she was not the one to blame for much of this.
Well,
Must have been involved somehow. It's a message you got this morning. The goddess of the moon is.
I think that could be
still
tied
alive.
to the woman.
I think that is her.
What if she's just immune because she was already asleep?
The dance we saw, wasn't there some moon in the dance?
All I remember is the blood bit.
No, I think you're right. I think the moon was mentioned.
The name of the dance was a Chartre, and she gave a poem about a Chartre, which you have now had linked to be the Babylonian moon goddess.
Ooh.
Ishtar.
She was dancing. She was dancing about.
In that case, I think you're right.
Yes, and she read out a great long poem, which contained a variety of odd things.
If we are to believe this mysterious caller, then Berber is not as dead as she seems.
That's a
And
lie.
I would hardly put that past us. Past her.
Yes, and alive and well. I mean, you saw her when she was there last. She has not been well for some time. But unless this was never drugs, if this was the gentleman plying her,
As we have seen and experienced for ourselves, our reflections are entirely not separate, not unseparate from ourselves.
I want to say a quick
that's
little
a
thing.
good.
When you're kind of standing now in one of the main squares talking before you head to this bar, and it started to get a little windy. In fact, it is very windy. There is this sort of rattling wind that is like sending shutters going back and forth. A couple of tables that aren't bolted down go sort of like tumbling to their side, and a chair blows across. You can see people like turning up their collars to the wind and hurrying inside. The paper that you have bought, which you managed to read and stuff because it was only sort of a faint thing, has now started to kind of go crazy around, and it's just sort of blowing. You're having to sort of hold it against you. The wind is getting quite serious.
I am bracing myself on like a street lamp. My danger of tipping.
Yes.
I feel like we should go inside.
We shouldn't stand out here. Our next plan, we have hours to spend. Perhaps it is worthwhile to investigate this new ally and see what she knows.
Who?
The one who's calling us.
Let's get inside the bar. They might have a phone, and we can begin to look. But I don't know where to even begin.
I have some ideas. If they
Oh,
have
then
a
let's-
phone book, we
let's-
should find out.
Just go. I don't need to talk out here.
All right. You head into the bar, sort of down a set of steps, and emerge. It has grown significantly since the last time you were here. It's been sort of widened out. It's quite
it's
a
the
large.
same bar.
It is the same bar. It is the same bar from the first scenario that you originally saw Berber in.
We were saying earlier when
funny.
Berber died on the same day as us, so we don't believe in coincidences. This is relevant.
Yes, and I also said that it is officially not a it is officially just a coincidence.
Did you just say Berber died on the same day as us?
Well, because we woke up. Oh wait, we have
You've just
8 hours left.
You just sealed our fate. Congratulations.
Well done. So as you sit down, you can hear the wind outside. It is rattling. It's kind of like sweeping past, but it gives you kind of a cozy feel. You're now inside, and it's kind of all right. And as you're kind of sitting about, this room is much bigger. There are probably about 40 or 50 tables now. There's a large dance stage in the middle, and you can see like there's banners printed around the side that says advertising of this dance stage could hold 1,000 people. Make an engineering check for me.
Wait, the stage?
I thought
Yeah,
you
like a
never
middle
asked.
stage. Yeah. It's like a dance floor, essentially.
Oh,
Oh no. Engineering is 6.
push it.
Can I push that?
Yeah, you can push that. You'd have to go up and wriggle it a little bit, maybe
Alright.
kick a foundation.
I would love to. What is that?
40.
49 is success.
Okay, so you go over and you sort of touch it, and no, no, this could hold maybe 100 people.
Oh,
So no,
dear.
it's a bold claim. But there is a more interesting marvel of engineering, and this is something that was quite popular at the time in Berlin, that lots of people were messing around with to try and create these mass delivery systems of pneumatic tubes. So, next to each table, there is a pneumatic tube system. And you can see that they all sort of connect to the bar and they connect to a cloakroom and stuff like that. There are only a few people here now. A couple of tables are full, but people are sitting down. What they will do is they'll put in small cats of things, bits of paper, which get sucked over and delivered to the bar, and then people will come and bring them food as a result.
Just across the room.
Unfortunately, the food
Put a margarita in it.
Unfortunately, the food does not go back through it, but something does go. As you sit down and you start to sort of read through, menus are brought to you. It's a kind of much more upmarket place now. You see that as well as a food menu, and the food here has gotten a lot better. Before it was just kind of red or white. Now there is a huge selections of cocktails, any beer or wine that you would want, and very, very Prussian food. There is, boar knuckles on sauerkraut and all kinds of sort of like quite heavy, rich dishes. But there is also next to it a menu which is called trinkets. And it is literally a list of kind of toys. There's like ribbons and all this kind of stuff as you go through it. Not drugs. You see them used.
I thought it might be...
No, they are legitimately toys. You see one get delivered, a bouquet of flowers is selected, and what happens is that you see a way to come over to one table, and someone sort of points over to the table over there. Another person sends through a letter which someone reads at the thing, and basically, in the middle of a conversation, the pneumatic tube will fire out a gift for the table, and they'll kind of go, and look over, and the other table will be waving at them and stuff like that. So Berlin for pneumatic tubes were going to be the future for quite a while, and
why are you guys not really excited?
I get the impression you want me to be excited by this, but
I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I am appalled and offended. I saw countless young men die and be killed in a flurry of battles because they were charged with delivering messages
and now
from trench to trench. And now they have set up this expensive piece of machinery to deliver a message from one side of the room to the other.
Absolutely.
I am shocked and appalled.
I mean, that is completely fair enough. You kind of sit down.
I kind of start sabotaging the nearest tube just to see if I can let some of the air out.
Absolutely. I mean, what you could do is you could you could basically break your one, and you can do it two ways. You can do it so whatever will get stuck, also it will fire out with incredible...
Let's go with option number 2.
Is it just the one for our table?
Yeah, this is just the one for your table, yes.
Yeah, it's the next time someone uses it, it's going to fly across the room and peg someone in the back of the head in the next table over.
Okay, you make an engineering check.
I would love
You
to.
see him doing this. You can kind of...
I'm upset. I'm going to go sit at a different table.
Fair enough.
And start ordering random things.
I'm going to burn 2 points of luck to make that a success too.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm that impassioned.
It's going to have some
about
energy.
these goddamn tubes.
You kind of... What's your opinion, Klaus?
I'm getting a gauge. Does everyone think this is cool in here?
Yeah, this is very fashionable.
Then I think it's cool.
So you kind of you end up sitting by yourself at the sabotage one, while you two go to the table one across and sort of will just send them in. You'll be like, I want this drink, I want this drink, I want this.
Yeah, we're just ordering tons of pretzels.
I'm folding little not origami. I'm folding little paper sailboats and airplanes and.
Absolutely.
I'm so
I haul myself up
This is the
on my
happiest I've
aching
been
leg
in 2 years.
and drag my wooden leg across the other side of the room
No,
to
you're not
order a
taking this to
goddamn
me.
beer like a goddamn human. What is the world coming to?
I know. I'm writing little nice notes to the bartenders, being like, "Sorry about the guy with one leg."
Sorry about the homeless pirate.
He has a home now.
Oh yeah.
So you begin to eat and you begin to drink and you begin to make merry, and a little while passes. Now you did briefly discuss you wanted to check if they have a phone and sort of follow that avenue.
Yes.
Are you sort of just what's
And a piano.
It will probably be about 3 hours before the lecture starts.
Do they have a piano?
They
They must have a piano.
Yeah, they will have a piano. Yeah, it'll be
Easily
set to one side. There's sort of the dance stage, and then there's a main stage towards the back that you can go to. Where there's a piano.
You better focus on the phone thing.
Hit him with your hot cross buns from your new sheet.
May I?
Oh no!
Are you kidding me? What have you done?
Oh dear. Oh. I'm rolling sanity. Oh dear.
of this.
Oh god, I'm pretending we don't know him.
I'm really sorry, everyone that subscribed.
It turns out Hot Cross Buns is a licensed music.
No, it's definitely not picking up that. That was awful.
Get my royalties from big
Hot Cross Buns.
I'm gonna quickly double check.
What's like? Remember the guy that did Happy Birthday and tried to hit everyone that used it?
Yeah,
Well, that's actually well, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
Let's.
okay.
The wind is blustering outside. You head up and you're going to ask about the phone. You can see that Joseph is heading up there to ask about phone. Would you like to join him, or are you too busy playing with things? Which is totally reasonable.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing the fun. Okay. What I'm genuinely concerned about. Sorry, I want to have ordered. They've got little slips of paper for.
Yeah.
I've got a drink and I've dredged a couple of pieces of rolled up paper. I'm going to plug my ears if I think things are going poorly. And I've also done a couple of sets for the other two as well, although they're just with me in my hands.
Excellent.
I was a little aware.
All right. So you've gotten ready and you are prepared to plug ears if things go well. You're still playing with everything. You head up and you talk to one of the staff. You say you need to make a phone call.
Yes.
They say, certainly.
And a phone book if you have one. Are there phone books yet?
We have a phone book. Do you plan to be long on the phone?
No, very brief. I just need to find a friend.
Okay, and you step forward, and they take you sort of to a back office area. They would expect people to be able to make calls at this point, so there is a phone that can be used. You have to wait behind someone else who's making a phone call, but they quickly finish up and nod and let you go past, and you step forward.
So I'm looking for whatever seemed to be the most trafficked. What did you call them? Phone girls businesses.
Telephone girls.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, good.
Now, what you would probably do is you would call up the operator at this stage, probably. But we'll spare the exact
Get me one of
details
those
of this.
phone
But you
girls.
begin
Give me
to
the most
sort of-
popular phone girls in Berlin.
Yes,
The person standing behind you is like, oh, hey, can I go first? Call my mom.
Did he say he'd be long, or he said he'd be very brave? You make it so you I mean, you start calling essentially.
Yeah, and I'm going down the list.
You're going down the
I
list.
speak to
Okay.
the operator every now and then.
How
Looking for yes, I need
Oh no.
woman with a deep voice. I'll know when I hear her. Give me the deepest voices women you have.
All right. Make for me
hell?
technically, and I want this is purely a mechanical description. Make me a hard luck test.
Nice.
I can't do that.
Please, fumble, please.
Success 2.
Yeah.
In fact, 1 point. No,
It's
three
a bit-
points off.
Yeah,
Success
Darn,
3.
That was
darn,
good.
darn.
And you can't luck tests because
No.
your luck immediately begins to shrink.
because-
So, success 2.
Ooh.
Look,
It makes sense.
You asked for
I
it.
called it.
I gave it
made
to
the
you.
ruling. Okay, you begin to call through. It takes you a couple of goes, and you have sort of very awkward sort of glares with one of the waiters going past and another attendee who kind of walks up happily behind you as you're dialing, and then when you start to sort of talk, kind of and hurries out. And the third call that you ask, you get, you sort of are connected to a hotline, and you have to ask for someone with a deep voice, and the phone call is connected, and you hear the exact same voice on the other end say, "Hello?"
I recognize it.
Yes.
We have found Growl. We will find the goddess next. Need to know who.
Kind of silence for a couple of seconds. The voice says, "Where are you?"
That I cannot remember the name of.
You give the name of the bar, and she says, "Wait there. Do not leave, no matter how late it gets." Well done.
Cool. Nice one, Joseph.
You head back into the bar and sort of
With my head
Mystery
held
is
high.
solved by dialing sex. Oh no.
exactly.
1.
Do you know anything about the moon goddess? 3. Do you know anything about the moon goddess? 4.
Do you know? That's fine. Holy shit.
Oh man! So you walk back to the table. You all kind of sit about. Do you share this information with the others?
Yeah, I found a friend. She says she will be here and we should
Scribbling
stay no
on
matter
notes.
how late it gets.
Did you have any reason why we should trust her?
This person rang you?
She called me.
She called both of us.
She told
I
me to
didn't
look
know.
for
You didn't
Alban
know.
Grau. Told me the memory of Berber lives on. She told him that the goddess of the moon still lives in Berlin.
Yeah.
I can't imagine she is anything but a friend.
There must be a reason why she was telling us things. If she didn't want us to find anything out, then she wouldn't have told us at all. I agree.
How-
I think they are probably in some way on our side.
How would this person know to ring you and
Especially on today of all days when she became lucid again. She knows more.
There is a chance we were called earlier and we did not remember, but no, it could not have been. My people would have remembered. No, I agree. They are tied to this some way.
I'm not inclined to put anything certain.
No. All right, well, it looks like we're staying through the lecture and possibly for some time elsewhere. We should get a table that can see the doors, so if anyone comes in, we see them.
Makes sense. And we move away from the table with the sabotage pneumatic tube.
No, we've already done that because I already moved
Oh, you already
because I was
moved,
mad
yes.
at you.
Excellent.
I am still a bit, by the way.
So you head forward to a table by the corner where you can see the doors, and you begin to sort of wait and bide your time. After a couple of hours pass, you get to witness the pneumatic tube go off and
Hit someone.
Hit someone. I'll tell you what. I've got a list of menu items here. Roll me a d10.
What's the heaviest one?
The bowl of forks.
Oh, 7 was the heaviest.
What was 7?
I'm not going to tell you. We'll see if you can get it.
It was a bowl of lead forks.
It's a cannon.
8 is a small silver chain, which fires like a piece of jewelry.
This is the toy menu.
Yes.
Oh, right.
You can buy like trinkets and
Yeah,
nice
gotcha.
things and sort of hit someone in the ear with like ow. And there's like a loud conversation. They demand their meal comped, and it is.
I believe I will check my artillery skill.
Yes, please
you.
go ahead.
That was a direct hit.
Are you kidding me?
Well done. You find yourself
Sorry.
muttering, "Yeah, just aim." All right. So you sit around and you wait again for a couple of minutes. And eventually, people begin to flood in, and the crowd really bulks out as the lecture begins to start. This is all quite an older crowd, and you think that probably they're here for the lecture, and then they will flood out, and it will arrive again. And people begin to come up and gradually introduce the event, and they're all very serious. They are like Gregor, the man from there, here because we are here to discuss the serious nature of otherworldly events.
How many people are here?
40 or 50.
That's
Wow.
nothing to sneeze at.
No,
That's
it's
quite a few
it's
people.
reasonably big.
39 now, because
Yes, take it out.
Is Growl famous for being a director, or is no one seen?
he was on the downward.
No, he was like the director of a flop.
Yeah, right.
Essentially, he was not very well loved. Nosferatu, of course, is just a terrible movie that no one is going to remember. It was the thought of the time.
Cool.
Yeah, and it has not been long enough for people to become
Appreciated.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So as he is sitting down and kind of beginning, so as everyone is introducing the event, they take a while and they say, and of course now we'll be introducing our first speaker, keynote speaker, going through many of the magics pertinent to dreaming, workings of mirrors. Welcome, the esteemed occultist, expert, Grau. Step forward, they begin to clap. And you see Alban Grau kind of just bustle out of the crowd and walk up. He looks crazed. He's wearing all of his clothes are on wrong. His tie is hanging off. He's lost quite a bit of weight. His hair is standing on end. He looks like someone who is. It's not like this isn't Joseph. This isn't someone who is living rough. This is someone who is living quite well, but has suddenly suffered a giant electric shock. And they're a complete mess. Their clothes are filthy. And they come forward and start sort of, hello everybody. Very pleased to have you all here. Thank you. I've always been missing something when so often within our circles the topic of magic, and this is the absolute beginning. You see, of course, the absolute beginning from all of the countless catacombs. Because I should start again. Really, what I want to say is with the downfall of Rome. Because back then. Even the uninitiated, and he begins to just spout gibberish. And for a couple of seconds, people are, yes. And then even they start to, something is wrong. He gets through about 5 minutes, and then someone tries to sort of ask a question or see, and he goes, shut up, shut up, shut up, and then keeps blabbering. And everyone kind of steps back, and he continues in this vein, uninterrupted, unless you guys want to do something, for about a half hour. Just streaming word vomit. The whole world was shattered, just it prevailed with the tumultuous better chalice, yes.
Whisper, can you know that tube, can you, if you were to turn it, then we were to, at the stage, you want to be here all night listening to this?
It would be visible, it would be functioning the same as throwing something.
Throw something.
You know this event won't go all night. It probably will close before the bar gets busy for the evening.
Anything, perhaps it would soothe him to let him say his piece. And maybe there is something to be gleaned.
Gleaned? Oh, gleaned.
Gleaned.
Right, sorry, my German, it's not very good.
I've gotten a note. I'm ordering us more drinks.
Can I make a listen roll to see if I can catch anything else?
Could I make a dreaming roll?
Yeah, you can make a dreaming roll. You can make a listen roll. And I would also ask everyone to make a constitution roll because you are now diving into drinks.
Very-
Oh, okay. I thought it was like,
I'm
drinking the poison. Sorry, dreaming.
I will abstain.
That's within range. That's doable.
That is my amount.
Yo, I'm spending 6 points of luck.
Okay.
Why don't we just pretend that I rolled that? Did I get another normal D10? I dropped mine on the floor.
That's a
No,
success.
other one.
Sorry, I'm going to quickly do my con as well, just to get me out of the way. I succeed the con as well.
Okay,
So that's a
fantastic.
success.
I will roll my con.
So you've now got immunity to points of sanity of one loss, and you're beginning to get drunk.
Success
No, the
two.
con, if you're abstaining, you don't need to
I
roll.
don't drink.
You're
Yeah,
all
that's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not drinking.
You're all good. With your
Here's my-
dreaming,
here's-
yep.
Oh,
And make you listen. Make you listen.
here's my listen. Oh, why did I roll with advantage? I apologize.
Unless advantage.
Nice.
No, worth a shot.
I didn't see the results, so this is a straight up re-roll.
Whoa.
No,
Just
don't.
cheated a
What
little
did you
bit.
get?
0, 4.
Well done.
Success
Wow.
3.
Wow.
Okay,
Gaming the
so-
system.
No.
With
Thank
a
you.
listen check, you're able to tell the following. You can listen to the quality of voice. First of all, he hasn't slept in like days. He's got like a hoarseness in his throat. You would hear this kind of vocal quality in people when you were living under bridges and stuff, in people who were on drug benders or who were in like extreme states of distress. He is not doing well in the least, and he's just completely kind of at this wailing blabber, just firing out words.
Let me see if like anything is founded in sanity and logic.
You catch a couple of snippets.
Mm-hmm.
He mentions the Byzantine goddess, Shatra, Shah, however you want to pronounce it. He mentions all kinds of things. He mentions various kinds of magic. He mentions Gregor a few times. He mentions, of course, Gregor told me, you know, of course. He mentions Henri. He mentions working with Henri. He mentions Anita Berber at one point. It's just so quick that you wouldn't have caught these unless you were acutely listening. The one line that you said that you hear, which is completely chaotic. And of course, we were waiting for her death. You know, thought about speeding it up at some point.
Excuse me?
But you know, we couldn't get into it. Moving on from that. He blabbers and blabbers and blabbers and blabbers. With dreaming, you start to kind of listen in, and you begin to kind of get a sense in the back of your mind as you look at him. You remember the moment when briefly you would witness people begin to lose themselves into dream while you were in dreaming, and you can see that the same thing is essentially happening to him now. He's literally losing his mind. He's drifting apart. He's becoming essentially a husk before you. With each word that he seems to spew out, he seems to lose more of himself.
We
He needs a shock.
throw something.
Well, eventually, people do go to stop him.
That was my con.
What's your...
I rolled 97 over 45 for my con.
Okay, so that is a
Is that a
fumble. You are beginning to get
Shit
quite drunk.
faced.
And you just weren't expecting
Throw
it
something.
because of course you drunk fairly heavily back in the day, but your new mirror self is sober, so you
Right.
haven't drunk in a long time, and you've lost all your immunity, and you're
I'm 2
beginning
years
to feel
older.
Do
a
I
little, yes.
notice this?
Yeah, you notice. He's
I'm gonna egg him on to throw some. Stop this. He's going mad.
Yes, alright, that is the best thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw
What are you gonna
something.
throw?
I've just gotten drinks ordered.
I don't know why this is. My first instinct was the little rubber stopper at the end of my peg leg. That seems like a terrible idea.
I think that's hilarious. And
Throw
you're
something.
drunk and you set it, so you pull it off and you
It'll
do it,
bounce off him.
and
It
you
won't hurt him. Do it.
Very good.
hurl it.
Can
I'm
I
completely-
be assisting?
Sure, make
egging
a
him
throw
on.
test with advantage.
Really? Does that
'cause
not
I'm
just
egg-
cancel out
I'm
the,
egging you on.
shit face.
the drunkenness? Alright, I'll give it a go. My throw is base 20.
Or
Another 0-4.
0-4.
That's-
That is bang on a success
success.
3.
Max damage,
face.
impaling, kill him.
Wow,
what
he
does is
died.
he steps kind of back, like hold his eye, it falls to the floor, and everyone starts laughing around, and then
But it's
manages to control
success-
themselves. One of the compares who's still trying to keep this as like a significant event kind of steps forward and says, please, sir, control yourself.
I think that was what was best for him.
Growl kind of gets up, looks towards you, and it's my friends. I know you. Oh God, I'm happy to share. He's like eyes swelling up. I'm happy to share with you. Can you hear the wind? The wind outside. It means she's here. She's here. You'll all see. Just a couple of days, and you'll see. You'll see. Anyway, I'm going to. Gosh. And he walks out of the room. He just turns and begins to stroll away. And everyone kind of looks weirdly after him. This has really killed the event, both his leading, you throwing something. A lot of these serious kind of occultists, because they're all very serious, kind of get up and storm out, making a big show of it. And before your eyes, the event begins to dissolve. Would you
That
like
was
to
fun.
pursue Growl?
Sure.
We were told to wait here.
Well, she never rang me.
Is it still windy?
You can hear the wind outside, yeah.
Shouldn't go out there by yourself. No, we could. You could stay. Two of us can have a look.
Which direction did he go? Like just off stage, towards the
Oh, no,
exit?
he's gone. He's leaving the building.
He's leaving the building.
Woman seems to know us. If we're going to split up, it seems we should stay here. One of us at least. And my leg isn't much good, and my other leg isn't much good right now. I'll have to be honest with you.
He's got an angle. Yeah. All right, there. Get you a water, or I don't have another beer.
Yes.
Just drink it slowly.
That's what I need.
The two of you are going after Growl.
No, I don't think.
No.
I need fly.
No. It's all right.
I'm just trying to think if Percy would want to follow.
Grau is not a danger to himself presently.
Yeah.
If we need to, we can find him. He has our business card.
He is also walking out into that wind.
Didn't seem concerned about it. He seemed rather.
He doesn't seem concerned with much these days. They hardly put stock into that.
I'm gonna write an order for like some water
Yeah. So
and
I
some
would
Barocca.
snatch it before it disappears and crush it. Crush the little message tube.
Oh,
Crush the whole message.
you
I'll
like
get
slap
it
you when you try.
myself.
Someone brings you water, fortunately, because they
good.
spotted the.
Oh, because
the
they
chaos.
have. Otherwise, they get they get fined.
Yeah.
They need to-
A couple of hours begin to pass, and you are waiting. The crowd goes from like freeze into during, and just as soon as 11 p.m.
Dancing.
and it is heaving. There is close to 100 people on the dance floor, and you're
Imminent.
waiting for a collapse. It's getting louder and louder.
That's
There
the
is
best
just
day for you.
consistent movement. Your drunkenness stays, but you also start to get a headache. You are just feeling terrible now. And as you all kind of wait, 11 comes. 12 a.m.
I guess we'll keep. Are you not drinking? And you're done drinking, or are you?
I think I'll swiftly transition to the hair of the dog period.
Okay, yeah, we'll do another round.
All right.
I mean, I'm okay drinking. I'm fine.
Yeah. Make another con check.
Yeah, booyah.
Can I see if there's like playing cards anywhere?
Yeah, you would absolutely have playing cards. In
Cool.
fact,
Wait, are they
someone
mine?
gifts them to you through the pneumatic tube system.
Cool. I'm gonna open them up and then feed them back through one by one.
Oh, very cool. You're having a great time.
No,
success.
I'm loving this.
Success.
Success. Okay, you two are continuing to drink. Yeah, exactly. It's a hell of a night. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. People begin to go to leave because it's getting really late, and then they come back in. They're like, the wind is crazy. I'm gonna have to stay for another. At 2. Everything is still completely packed. People really don't want to go into the wind, and you can hear it. You occasionally hear like a crash outside, as you know something's broken or like a tree branch has fallen on something. It's really clearly getting bad.
I have a moment where I remember my driver sitting out there in my car waiting.
You had a driver?
Well, yeah, he's just sitting
Wait, I
there.
thought
I
you
guess.
would.
Yes. So he would be.
I'll send it someone. I don't want. I'll send it to someone to tell him to come in. So, like park the car somewhere safe and come down. Have a drink with us. I don't want him getting injured.
Now that stuff is breaking outside,
Bye.
lean over. It's not mine.
What? Really?
I'll just get another one. It's fine.
Didn't he say that the wind means she's here?
He said the wind is her. He said a few days.
And also, it will be a few days.
He said a few days.
A few days.
Few days.
I'm concerned that if we leave now, any number of these people could be our contact. Actually, we should probably have a look around.
Yeah. Why don't we go start
She knows
talking
us.
to?
She must know us.
Well, no,
She might not know us,
Whoever
babe.
has the best spot hidden can now make for me a spot hidden test with advantage. You've all been looking and you got a special table.
Can Joseph roll listen to recognize the voice?
Does anyone
Damn,
higher
Had
than
to hear
50?
it first. No, that is all yours.
Success. No
Okay.
success too, though.
So you all know that you're looking for a telephone girl at this stage. You share that information, correct?
Yes.
All right. And
Oh,
as you are sitting about looking, you do notice at one point telephone girls err on the younger side. And there is a young woman who comes in at one point, sort of with a heavy coat and a hat on, and she kind of looks around, and her eyes pass over your table. She goes and she just sort of beelines towards an empty table at the back, sits down, and then you see her slip something into the pneumatic tube, and it goes thump, and you begin to watch it. When you look back at her, she's making her way back towards the door. A second later, something arrives in your pneumatic tube
Yeah, our table.
on your
I
table.
thought they all point to the bar.
No, there can be gifts that are sent in between as well. Immediately, something comes down. You open it up. So, so what I want to say, if you are staying to open this, you are not sprinting after her.
I'm gonna open it.
I'm not sprinting anywhere.
I'll
Yes.
sprint after her. I'll try and close it.
You get up and you hurry over. You're quite fast as well.
I'm normal fast. What I am is get the fuck out of my way.
Okay, so you begin like barging through the area, and we'll jump back to what happens to you two in a second. But you lean in, you open this, and you can see a small doll, a small kind of porcelain doll.
Is it a boy doll?
It
or-
appears to be it's kind of genderless. It has long
Okay.
blonde hair, but that at the time could
Yeah,
didn't-
okay.
didn't
It's not like
designate it.
obviously a young girl.
Yes,
I think.
no.
It's not like recognizable or
It's a doll.
anything. It's
And
just
no
a doll.
note on the paper.
There's no note on the paper at all. You begin to turn the doll over. Someone can make a spot hidden check for me.
I will do that. Nope, I will not do that.
May I try to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe try something like Are you kidding me?
That's always nice.
Wow.
You got that
07
drunken-
is
Oh,
once
he's
again
A success.
bang
3.
on a success.
You
3.
are on fire today. You move up the hair of the doll, and you can see a symbol at the back.
What's the
The
symbol?
symbol resemble.
Looks with a success 3. I'll tell you, you recognize it as a Hebrew symbol.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all we
It's
know.
a Hebrew
Okay.
symbol. But also, as you pick up the doll and begin to examine it with success 3, you can hear that there is something in it.
Was the symbol look like it was recently etched on it, like with a nail, or like it was part of
No,
the
it's part of the
manufacturing?
doll. Part of the
So it's
Under
been
the
like
hair?
Under the hair of the doll, yes.
And there is something inside. I will twist the head off as
Yeah,
best
let's
I
just
can
snap
to
it.
get in
It's
there.
porcelain. We'll have to break it.
Yep. All right, you
What's one go through?
you gonna break it?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
All right, you break the head off,
And the GM
this
asks, "Are you sure?"
This
That is the
liquid
point to pause.
spills out.
Yeah.
And it is immediately, both of you lean back gagging. It's a horrible stench. It smells like congealed milk. Really just horrible. It makes you both gag. It looks like bloody pus. And your hands begin to burn horribly where it touches them. You drop and you begin... you're going to have to make me a constitution check.
Yeah, right. Send for some milk and water.
Bang on success.
Okay, with a success, you only take 1 point of damage.
I'll take
By the
it.
time you get this off, it is raising into welts and blisters. You think that if you had failed, this probably would have severely hurt your hands.
I'm not sure what my
Dip
max
your hands
HP
in this
is.
milk.
Figure that out, I think.
Yes, by all means.
It's 10.
I was probably on full before that.
Yes.
Yeah, cool, excellent.
So yeah, you now have raised welts across your hand.
Ew.
I
And there's
think I
nothing
have-
else inside? Inside the doll?
No, that appears to be it. There's
Sorry.
quite a horrible smell emanating from your table now, and a waiter comes over and says, what's happened here? What's going on?
Spills something.
What did you... was that sent to you as a gift? I'm sorry, that should be on the menu. I mean, he begins to sort of oh, I'm terribly sorry, this is, and begins to kind of...
Can I quickly, because there's paper and stuff, can I quickly note down the symbol?
Absolutely, you can. You can make an occult test on it, or a history test.
Cthulhu Mythos?
Sure, you can make a Cthulhu Mythos test on this, but if you fail, there will be consequences. Not
I have
bad.
a cult. Oh, I don't have either. You do it.
Good ones?
Sanity 15.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave
Do I have
that
any
lying.
Cthulhu? I
Fair
could do
enough.
some Cthulhu. My sanity is at 56.
You want to give it a shot?
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, yes.
What's your mythos?
13.
Nice.
Mithy?
Okay.
No, okay, so as you begin to look at it, you start to feel deeply uncomfortable about it, and when you look up for a second into Joseph's eyes, there's a doll staring back up at you. Make a sanity test.
Oh, it's fine.
I don't like this one bit.
I failed.
Okay, you're going to lose a d4 of sanity.
Oh, that's not so bad. Rolled a 4.
Oh, that's pretty bad. You're so close. You're oh, is this the start of it? You go to block your ears preemptively, and then no, I'm not going back to prison. I'm okay. You're not about to lose another 2 years of your life.
Do you recognize that symbol?
What symbol?
On the door you just
No,
looked
there's
at
no,
it.
there's no symbol. I'm gonna scrunch up the note and just that I've copied it
Yeah.
down. You deal with it.
I will take it, and I will not look at it.
Meanwhile, you've gotten up, you barge through, you push people aside, and you get upstairs. And as you get up, you can see this woman. She's walking along, and she doesn't appear to know she's being pursued at this stage. She heads out, and the wind is kind of buffeting at this
Nip that in the
stage.
boat. Before she gets up, I'm going to go, hey, stop!
She turns, make an intimidate test to try and actually get her to stop.
Quite good at this, aren't you?
Not that good.
Okay. She turns and she begins to sprint. She begins to run. Make for me a constitution test. This is going to turn into a chase.
Chase. Oh, man. Fail. Fail is reduced by 1, right? Move her.
Fail is reduced by 1, yes.
Might be over pretty quickly.
All right, what are you at?
7.
7. Well, she has rolled a 96.
Is that a
It is
Okay,
not,
no,
but she's
it's a fail.
also moving at 7.
Boom with a chance.
So, she begins to tear along, moving through, and as you get out, you're immediately almost bowl over by the force of the wind. You can see there's litter everywhere and there's some debris in the streets, and there's a weird smell in the air too. Make a strength test for me.
Let me just slip that in. Strength?
Yep.
I'm strong.
Oh,
Hell yeah. Success 3!
Oh, okay, so she's going to try.
checking there are no magnets.
So you begin to catch up with her very quickly. You're powering along and you're moving closer and closer. You're in a couple of minutes. She darts down alleys and begins to twist and turn down them. Make for me a dex test. You're an athlete.
Yeah, I'm a strong athlete. No, fail by like a lot.
I thought you almost went to the
Fortunately-
Olympics.
I did for strength.
Fortunately, she is not particularly good as well. You break out now into one of the large main squares, and she begins to power across it. I want a constitution test for just sheer
Yeah, almost went to the Olympics. Fail.
fail. Okay. She begins to pull ahead again. She gets to a fence at the other side and begins to vault over it. I want a climb test. We're doing this rather quickly.
Yeah, success.
Success.
What?
Really?
How high is your
Yep,
climb?
65.
Frodo, this is like a
serious?
cool chase now. You're like, you guys are being moving through. Finally, she begins to run alongside the river, and she moves as quickly as she can. She begins to jump up onto one of the large buttresses at the edge of the river. I want a jump test.
Success.
What?
65 in jump as
Jump,
well.
land next to her, and she dives into the river. I want a swim test. This will be the last roll.
Go on, Michael Phelps.
Yeah, success too.
And you land in the river right next to her. You have caught up to her, and she's sort of splashing in the water now. And you're like,
I grab her. I begin to like swim
Okay.
backwards. I go, why did you run?
When you grab her, you land your hand against her face, and her skin is made of porcelain.
The
Make
fuck?
a sanity test.
What? Success. Almost a crit.
Should we just... Where's the makeup?
You're only going to lose one sanity
Yeah,
point then.
definitely.
And you, but it's enough of a shock for a second. You kind of let go, and she sort of leans back, and you catch for a glimpse as she sort of spins around, rightening herself in the water, that she has a large symbol carved into the back of her neck, like it's part of her skin, like an ornate birthmark almost, and it is a Hebrew symbol.
Okay.
Don't twist her head off.
As she's there, she sort of runs for a second, and then you can see as well she's growing heavy quickly. Water is pouring into her mouth and just pulling.
No. Why'd you go in here? I want to try and grab her, please.
You grab at her, and she sort of sees you grab. She lets you grab her, and she says, "It's okay. It's okay." Make a strength test.
Yeah, success 1.
All right. You begin to kind of haul her up, and at this stage, with a success 1, you're not able to.
I'm
Pull
within
her
range of
up.
a success 2 if it helps.
Yeah, you can pull. You're a strong guy. With a success 1, you'll be able to hold her up for her to talk to you for a little bit. With success 2, you'll actually be able to pull her back towards
I'll
the
go to
shore.
success 2. 4
Okay.
points of luck.
Okay.
Excellent choice.
Thank you. Insane man with a water launcher.
It was currently very drunk. It's
right.
2 in the morning.
Covered in poison.
You begin to drag her, and she sort of begins to resist you at first, then sort of just lets you, and you pull her, and you manage to like hold. You were like panting and exhausted at this stage. You manage to pull her up onto the side, and she stands up, and like you can see she like water is leaking out of her ankles now, and it like trickles out quite a bit.
What
It's
the
like she's
hell?
just become full of water. And she kind of watches you sadly for a little bit as you
Don't go anywhere. Why did you run? What are you?
You're not meant to find me yet. It's dangerous. I haven't been able to prepare.
Well, I don't care. You're going to come back with me. We're going to have a discussion with my friends.
Come back with you though.
Who will?
But I will. If you need it, I will die to tell you this.
Okay, no, look, you don't need to die. No one is going to hurt you. Listen, I
You
can.
have to let me leave now. All I can say, Walter and Andre, find Walter, Andre, and look in the Hudstengaf. I have to go. I have to go now, or I won't have another chance. You can basically step aside and motion for her to go. She's doing that panic, not like, oh, I have to go. Like she's like, I have seconds, kind of.
Yeah. Ah, shit. All right, yeah. I let her go, but I want to watch the direction she goes in and see if I can make a mental like.
Absolutely, yeah. You get the approximate like quarter of Berlin that she's heading to.
What was it actually? Look in the what?
She said, look in the Hudensgav. So HUNDEGUSTAV. And Walter Andre is a good man to know.
Oh,
Walter,
it's Walter.
WALTERAND.
What's a hood? That sounds like a German word. Do you know what that means?
Absolutely, it's a very famous place in Berlin. We'll go into it in detail next session.
Okay. Damn it.
As you walk back, the wind continues to buffet, and a little meta note for everybody. The first day, the goddess's return has taken place. On the third day, will begin the culling of the young.
What?
Thank you
We
very
spent
much
most of it drunk.
for joining us. This was the next part of Berlin, the Wicked City. It's a really, really cool scenario. This is the second part of it as we go into the aftermath of what is happening in 1928. Join us next week where we'll be diving into the next section. Thank you again to everybody. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, David.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Remember, if you can follow this channel, and if you have Amazon Prime, remember you can subscribe for free. So use that free subscribe because it's very good.
We are one sub away from getting a second emote slot.
Yes, so that will be very exciting. Captain Firebeard has a suspicion which Elder God is involved here.
Wow.
All right, I'll tell you.
us.
It's
Privately
the
message me.
elder-
I want to see it.
The elder god of
Tell
nice
us.
puppy.
You know what? I think Captain Firebeard, you'll be surprised. I'm happy to say. But tune in next time to find out the rest. We'll be back next week. Remember, you can find these VODs online on YouTube.
We do a rebroadcast on Thursday.
Yep. Great to have you all here. Thanks very much.
Wait.